Name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. We're going to be live in about 30 seconds, and I'm going to jump right into it. It's Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas to everyone. But there's a lot of serious issues that we are going to be talking about right out of the gate. So this is one of those days. I'm just disgusted by this one story. Well, I'm disgusted by a couple of stories, but one more than the other. All right, here we go. 10 seconds.
Advertising on our radio station, so don't use the rest. Only go to Any Lab Test Now with Volca and Any Lab Test Now with
Stand by.
And make sure you tell them you heard about them on the radio.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
All righty, welcome one and all. It is Christmas Eve. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. That's right, celebrating 47 years on the radio. Welcome one and all. Let me tell you, this is the busiest Christmas Eve news day that I think I've ever experienced in my life. There's so much to talk about. And this is one of those days. I've got a couple of big stories that I am going to cover today, several. But I was going to lead with a story, which is going to be my second story that I cover, because the story I was going to get into second, it's ticked me off so much, it's got to be talked about. And it's what's going on the subway, this thing in the subway in New York. And the police officer who stood there and did nothing while that woman burned to death, and the cowardly New York City subway passengers, none of whom tried to help the lady, running out like cowards. And this is what ticked me off. Not just that no one did anything, including the police officer, but they're using this excuse. They're calling it the Daniel Penny effect. Oh, no one helped because they didn't want to end up like Daniel Penny. No one helped because they're sick, twisted, sadistic, self-centered people who don't care. What happened to the New York of 9/11? You know, that police officer, and I'm sure you guys, and I know we got New Yorkers out there, you should be ashamed of New York. Here in Florida, when we had an incident, right? Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, we had off-duty police officers in shorts and flip-flops running in to save those kids and confront the shooter. We had unarmed school teachers with no training storming into the building. That's Florida. That police officer who stood there outside the subway car while that woman burned to death should be fired, investigated, and charged with some type of crimes. I don't know what they would be, but he shouldn't be a cop and he should be facing charges. It's the most cowardly act I have seen with a police officer since the cowardly cop at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas was afraid to confront the shooter and didn't do anything. You know, after 9/11, the firefighters and police officers of New York City were put up on a pedestal. Now, that's been a long time. Those guys are all retired, and we got a new breed of wokesters, I guess, now on the NYPD. But do you know why the firefighters and police officers were put on such a high pedestal of respect after 9/11? It wasn't just because they were there. A lot of people were there. The firefighters and the police officers in New York City were put up on a special pedestal of respect because on 9/11, they were running into the building that everybody else was running out of. All right? Bravery. This police officer on the subway didn't go for a fire extinguisher, a blanket, or use a winter coat to try to save this woman's life. He couldn't be bothered. A coward. These people that ran out of the subway car, this is not the Daniel Penny effect. I saw it. They ran out of there in hysterics. No one helped. Why not? Well, I don't know. There's a few reasons I guess we could speculate on. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Should that police officer be fired? Should that police officer be charged? I expect Eric Adams will weigh in on this and say the right things. You know, he's been saying a lot of the right things lately. The police commissioner, I don't know. And the police chief, I don't know. We'll find out. I know if Kelly was still the commissioner, that guy wouldn't be on the job right now. You know, I remember when Marjorie Stoneman Douglas happened and that cop was afraid to go in and pretending to look indoors and all this stuff. Got calls on the air from people and they said, well, would you have gone in? Would you, well, I'm not a police officer. Being a police officer is more than just being some flatfoot waiting for a pension. You know, police work, for a lot of police officers, it doesn't get dangerous very often, which is a good thing. But when something happens, you're expected to get involved and try to save people and help people. Not sit there and watch someone burn. They don't have fire extinguishers around there. There's no winter coats to try to throw over the lady. I've never seen something like that. You know, I've seen instances myself and have been a part of when there's been emergencies and people get involved. Whether it's calling the police or getting involved yourself. Never seen something quite like that. Who has, outside of, war zones. But this is not the Daniel Penny effect. Now, I'm not a New Yorker. I go to New York as a tourist. I wouldn't go now. It's dangerous. What an embarrassment. And I'll tell you, it's a disgrace the way those New Yorkers, it wasn't just the firefighters and police officers after 9/11 that stood up. Regular civilians in New York were helping and taking great risks on 9/11 and after 9/11. It was one of the most patriotic, unifying events that we've ever seen in any of our lifetimes in the United States. But there was so much respect put on the New York City police office. The firefighters got most of the glory because so many died. More firefighters died than the police. So the police still got a lot of respect. It's supposed to be the finest police department in the world. That's not what I saw on the subway. I saw a guy, a flatfoot, waiting for his pension, doesn't want to take a risk. I understand, they got families and everything. Well, don't take a dangerous job. Be a meter maid. Be a garbage man. Get a job at the DMV if you want to work for the government and you don't want to take risks. That's your job. I mean, I've never seen anything like that. In my family, police officers and firefighters in my family, and some of them have taken incredible risks. Just on the fly. That's the job. And, as citizens, you're supposed to be able to rely on our police officers, especially the ones in New York. Anytime, because we had a lot of New Yorkers here in Florida, we have a lot of retirees, a lot of retired New York City cops. If you've ever heard me speak on the phone to a retired New York City police officer, I always put them up to a little different standard of respect and you're a New York City police officer, so, that's a little extra credit. This is an embarrassment. This guy, that is the biggest coward next to that guy, well, maybe equal to the guy at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. That is just yellow coward. And not only should he be fired, it should be very public, and he really, it should be very public, so a message is sent. And he should be brought up on some charges. I don't know what charges. And I'm not saying that he could have saved that lady. But for him just to stand there and do nothing, not go for an extinguisher, not go for a blanket, not go for a winter coat to try to smother the fire with, I've never seen something like that. If you can't depend on a New York City police officer, who can you depend on? And don't buy this Daniel Penny effect line of BS. Those people pouring out of the train, did any of them look like they were thinking about Perry. No. They were thinking about themselves. What happened to the New York of September 12th? I don't know. But it's gone. It is gone. And, you know, at the time that they were doing nothing, they didn't know what happened. That could have been a terrorist act for all they knew at the time. I'm so glad that at the World Trade Center, before the fire and police arrived, that the civilians at the World Trade Center didn't behave that way. Running out like a cowardly mob. That's not the New York that I've known. Those aren't the kind of New Yorkers I know. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. I mean, do you buy this Daniel Perry effect? That is a bunch of garbage. You know what it is? They're liberal wokesters who don't care about anybody, I guess. Maybe there's an article in the New York Post today that talks about New Yorkers' disconnect with humanity. Maybe, you know, people are so into their phones and social media that they've dehumanized people. I don't know. Yeah, who are these idiots with their cell phones filming this and not getting involved? Who are these people? Now, I understand fire is very, very hot, and I was talking yesterday, if you've ever been around a bonfire or a car, you ever been around a car on fire? Holy smokes, they burn quick and they burn hot. So I understand that the woman probably could not have been saved, but no one even tried. People were more concerned about getting a viral video up on Twitter than saving the life of a person, or even attempting to, or saving their own dignity. So I'd like to hear. I do have a lot of things to talk about other than this, but this is what really it was disgusting what happened, and then I'm watching the news. And they're talking about the Daniel Perry effect, like Penny effect. I keep saying Perry, guys. I'm sorry. The Daniel Penny effect. And that's what ticked me off. Giving an excuse to that coward cop. Giving an excuse to those coward New Yorkers that ran out like in a panic off the subway train. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Our number is toll free. It is Christmas Eve. We're here live on Christmas Eve, guys. Our number, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you're listening. We got a lot to cover. We'll be right back.
Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Hey, it's Scott with a quick reminder that the greatest hits of the 60s and 70s are back on the radio right after 10 a.m. this morning. Check it out on South Florida's True Oldies channel right here. Sloman's and their free home security system and free doorbell camera with professional installation offer is here. Yep, finally some great news. How would you like a free doorbell camera? You get a doorbell camera, get a doorbell camera, and you can get a doorbell camera. The first 40 True Oldies listeners who call 833-283-5050 will get this limited time offer of a free doorbell camera that connects directly to your smartphone with installation of your Sloman Shield. And that's not all. Sloman's will give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. So you're going to get an LED touchscreen pad, 10 contacts.
This is disgusting. I mean, am I the only one disgusted by it? I mean, these New Yorkers, what a freaking embarrassment. What an embarrassment. I'll get into Gaetz and when I finish up with this.
Tom Laporta here from Laporta Contracting, Roofing, and Building Restoration. I am pleased to say our relationship with the Steve Kane Show and the show's listeners keeps getting stronger and stronger. The Steve Kane Show listeners are truly the best customers we have ever had. They are courteous, intelligent, honest, and
I don't know.
Joy to work. We have completed thousands of projects for the listeners, from repairs.
It's hard to say what's
HOA
causing it.
in churches with great success, and
It really
every one of
is.
those customers are like family. We have installed all kinds of roofs, from asphalt shingles,
I'm,
concrete
you know,
tile, standing metal seam, slate tile, and flat roof systems. So come on and let our family take care of your family. Call me on my cell at 954-604-4602.
we'll be back shortly, guys.
At LaportaContracting.com. The number again is 954-604-4602.
Hi, I'm Celeste. We love our Florida sunshine.
Maybe it's a liberal thing.
Definitely not.
What do you, I'll explain what I mean by that when we get back.
AC service and installation. Need to stay cool? Yes, all year. Need help today? Yes, all year. Zero down financing? Yes, all year. We're South Florida's #1 for comfort because our family is serving your family all year. Call us
We'll be
today.
back in seconds.
That's 833 all year.
Now back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere.
All right, we are back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Talking about this instance of what happened in New York. Here's an article in today's New York Post. No one helped. The bystanders were too busy filming. The cops, instead of wrapping their jackets around a burning woman in an F train, walked by. I mean, what the heck? I mean, what's going on here? You know, when President Trump was shot by that never-Trumper in Pennsylvania, you know, what was amazing about that is that the crowd of MAGA men and women, they didn't run. They stayed. In fact, it was the only mass shooting event like that, because it could have been a mass shooting. It was the only shooting event like that I've ever seen where people didn't run out like those New Yorkers did on the train. And President Trump's talked a lot about this. And the reason that the people stayed, I mean, that's something, right? That's something. If the people at the Butler rally were on the train, they would have done something. But the reason the people at the Trump rally in Butler stayed after the president was shot was two reasons. Which was very risky because they didn't know what was going on. They didn't know where the shooting was coming from. They didn't know how many shooters there were. They didn't know what they had. They all could have gotten it. They stayed there to protect Trump. Some people say to see if he's okay. That was secondary. The people there stayed because if something was coming, they were going to have to face that crowd. The crowd stayed to protect Trump. One of the bravest things I've ever seen in my life. Civilians, unarmed civilians. And it was a hot day, a lot of them in shorts and t-shirts. And they were ready to stand up to protect President Trump after he had been shot in Butler. That's why they stayed. They wanted to make sure he was okay too, but they wanted to protect him. So maybe it's just something about liberals and conservatives. Maybe liberals are just too self-absorbed with themselves. They just don't care. But this is not the same New York we had in 9/11. This is not the same New York City Police Department we had either. You know, I understand I understand it's a scary and dangerous situation, but the natural instinct is to help. Not to panic like that. But you know, and I say liberal because it's New York City. Anyone who's, goes liberal in every election, and so many people have fled the city, the few conservatives that were there, most of them have probably gotten out and moved to Florida or somewhere, or Texas or something. So I don't think it's a stretch to say that these are liberals, including the police officers. So maybe it's something about the difference between liberals and conservatives. And, you know, there's something to say about that. But if you're on hold, stand by. We'll get to the calls in a bit. Liberals aren't into intervening too much into things. Liberals, and again, I'm not talking about the cop, I'm talking about the civilians that ran out there. Now they're claiming, well, I don't want to be like Daniel. You know, you just ran for your life. You didn't care that a woman was burning to death. Liberals, I'm not talking about the cop, but liberals believe that they don't have a responsibility to take care of anything. That's the government's job. So maybe there's that attitude. And, we've been talking a lot about government workers in the last few weeks because a lot of that's been coming up in the attitude of government workers. Government workers generally are very lazy, just waiting for their government pension. That's it. That's what most of them are doing. That's what happened at Parkland. I mean, Parkland, that school's a fancy school, fancy people, fancy neighborhood, had the sheriff giving special attention to the city. So a police officer that gets a cushy job like that, being the resource officer at Marjory Stoneman Douglas before the event, that was like a retirement thing compared to if you're the school resource officer at Ely or Dillard or something, right? Or my old high school, Stranahan. That's like real police work in those places. So you get a lot of these guys that are police officers that are so overweight they haven't seen their penis when they've urinated in years, and their way they could chase down a suspect, they'd get outrun and be out of breath, and they're just counting down to get that pension. They punch in, they punch out. They're useless. And there's a lot of government workers like that. I don't know what the deal was with these cops at the subway, but to see it repeatedly is really disturbing because, when you go to New York, a lot of people go to New York this time of year to visit, to vacation, and you go to New York. And you're not a New Yorker, you don't know what's going on. Because that's I go to New York, I don't know what's going on. It's very confusing to me and sometimes scary. I've been down there on the subway. Oh, my goodness. To me, as a tourist in New York, and this is not an exaggeration, the subway is more frightening sometimes than the scariest roller coaster I've ever been on. All right? Because of the people, you don't know what's going on. I believe on Sunday, there were 3 people killed on the subway. This woman, somebody was pushed on the track, and I think there was a 3rd incident. And when you're in a dangerous place, you're supposed to be able to go to a police officer and feel safe, secure. Nothing's going to happen because you've got a police officer there. Right? Have any of you had that experience? I've had that experience in some places I've been before in my life. Been some very dangerous places. I see a police officer, I feel safe. But then you look at Marjory Stoneman Douglas during that event. You look at the subway over the weekend in New York. Big problem here. So what's wrong with these people? Is it liberalism? What's going on here? And I don't accept this Daniel Penny effect. That is an excuse to some people that are humiliated. And there's what's happened with social media, and instead my daughter, my wife and I had a conversation with my daughter a while back, and my daughter, something was real interesting. I was watching this funny video online by this family of comedians and musicians. You may have heard of the Holderness family. There were a lot of songs. And they had this thing called Gen X Christmas. And it was about what Christmas was like in the 70s and 80s for people that were my age. And if you're my generation, it all made sense. Oh, yeah, we had this shared experience. Whether it was a trapper keeper or something on TV or having wood paneling in the house or a TV show or something like that. a movie. But now, because of social media and living in the phone, we've lost a big connection that people have, right? You know, there aren't any more movie stars, and it's not because of the movie theaters. There's so much entertainment in the palm of your hand. There's no connection for people that they have to be a part of seeing a movie or a TV show or a song, even listen to a particular song anymore. Okay, it's not the same way. So and so Gen Z and maybe the millennials, they don't have a connection, and there's a disconnect from humanity because they live in their phones. You know, they do business through text and email. There's no personal interaction. People aren't real to them. So there's a lot of that too. You know, and I know every generation, whatever the new technology is, the generation before says it's going to be the end. You know, maybe it's every time there's a new generation and there's new technology, there's a bigger disconnect. But what I saw in that New York City subway was a lack of empathy and just really a lack of humanity. You know, here in Florida, I mean, when you see events, you ever see an accident on the side of the road and people pull over and help? You ever see somebody collapse at the beach and people go and help? I've seen this type of thing. But not in New York. You're on your own. The police aren't even going to help you. You know, it's almost like The Purge, where the police don't respond. That's kind of like what happened on the subway. All right, we're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'd really like to hear your thoughts on this. I don't buy this Daniel Penny effect at all, and the news should be ashamed of themselves. Well, I guess the news are based out of New York, so they don't want this shame on them. I don't know, but it's not Daniel Penny. There's something else at play here. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. We're going to take our break, but I have some other things I want to bring up as well. All right, our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. We'll be right back.
It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll be back shortly.
BBKC is your entertainment destination with poker, casino table games, off-track betting, paddock dining, and exciting events.
They'll ID the woman at some point. They may already know who she is and haven't released it yet. Notifications, you know.
Big money tournaments. You can also play your favorite table games like Ultimate Texas Hold'em and 3-card poker with just a $5.
Yeah, I'd get at it. New York is so unsafe right now. I mean, you can't even depend on the police when you're victimized. I mean, what the hell? If Daniel Penny was there, he would have tried to put that fire out, wouldn't he? Absolutely, he would have. I don't know how this Daniel Penny effect started. Was that the media just making that up to have something to talk about yesterday? But it's caught on. Whoever started it. Hard to say. Very hard to say.
Your AC system ready for this year's coming summer? If not, our team of expert technicians are ready to check, test, and inspect.
If you'd like to call in, the number is pinned in the chat. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll be back shortly. No, I'd get out of New York. If you can't turn to a police officer to save you when you're victimized, what are you going to do? Bless you.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 47 years on the air.
All right, Carlos, I don't stand by. You know, if Daniel Penny was on that train, do you think he would have intervened and tried to save that woman's life? Grabbed a coat, maybe took his own coat off and tried to smother the fire or look for an extinguisher, fire extinguisher? All right. 1-888-465-2631 is our number. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Morning, Brian. Merry Christmas. It's Danielle calling from Michigan.
Hey, Danielle. What's up?
Hey, yeah, distressing what you're talking about today. I did not watch the video, but I have a couple thoughts here real quick. If I'm not mistaken, I believe this gentleman was illegal here. I've got a couple thoughts. You know, when you put in open borders and you let everyone in our country, when you remove God from our country, when you don't allow the cops to do their jobs, and I'm not really sure what's wrong with people. You know, they might be slightly the Daniel Penny effect, but I'm not.
No. The cops. If you listen, I'd recommend you don't watch the video. Okay, it's horrific. You know, but I gotta see these things to talk about them, so I'm obligated to. So, but the police, it was not Daniel Penny. They're just flatfoots who don't want to take any risk. They're bums. They should be fired and charged with something. And yeah, it's disgusting. It's disgusting.
New York is. I have no idea what's going on with the people and what's going on in New York, but I'm going to tell you something. It is absolute. I've always wanted to go. I've never been. I have no desire to go there right now. It's horrific what's happening. This is just.
And I got to tell you something. This murderer was deported by Trump. Came back with Kamala and Joe Biden here. Governor Hochul has made New York a sanctuary state. You know, at what point is there any, and these Democrats in power, like the police officers at the train, have no empathy, no sense of any responsibility for their citizens? How many Americans are going to have to die these horrific deaths before these Democrats say, well, maybe this open border is a bad idea. Hochul should be run out of office. Listen, they ran Governor Cuomo out for what? He was, I didn't think that girl minded. They had a little thing going on there during the lockdowns. They ran him out of office. Hochul is bringing killers into the state, right? And bragging about it, and her people are getting killed. Why aren't they running Hochul out?
If anybody is dumb enough, let me just say this, to vote for a Dem ever moving forward, to see how they're destroying our cities, destroying this country, people really need to wake up and pay attention to what's happening. These people need to be voted out, and they need to be voted out now, because what's just happened, and this isn't going to stop. This is, if these people...
Well, listen, Governor Cuomo was not voted out. He was forced out by the public. Hochul was his lieutenant governor, if you remember, because he had a relationship with a subordinate. This is, where's the pressure on Hochul? Where's the pressure on her to... she's got one of her citizens killed here on the subway.
She's got blood on her hands.
I saw a story over the weekend. There's one of the higher, not the chief, but one of the highest ranking New York City police officers is in trouble. He's for some sexual things with a subordinate woman. I don't know the details. He's on his way out. What about this cop that stood there while a woman was murdered, and he stood there and did nothing while she was dying, didn't even try? Why isn't he out?
Yeah, this is horrific what's happening. I mean, I just can't wait for Trump to get back in. I'm just telling you, I'm just praying every day. I can't wait for him to get back in. And also, like he says, this country needs to get back to prayer. We need to get back to God. I mean, you take God out of everything, and this is what's going to happen. But I'm telling you something, that governor, these people and what they've done to the city, and it's not just New York. It is horrific, and this is an awful story. I can't wait till you move on to Gaetz, because I just want to.
No, don't worry, we'll get to that. I appreciate the call. All right, take care. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. This is Bill from Sanford.
Hey, Bill. What's up, Bill?
Well, first of all, I agree with you about the coach, because it would take a Daniel Penny personality to put a coat on her, and I'm guessing that others would then join, just like they did for Daniel Penny, and help bring down that guy that he put asleep.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen. As far as the other stuff, I don't know. I didn't file the case because it's very sad. I don't know if there was a fire extinguisher in the car, on the platform where the cop was. What else could have been done?
I find it hard to believe there's not a fire extinguisher, and the cops don't know where they are on subway cars. But everybody's got a winter coat on. It's the winter. You use blankets to smother fires. You at least try.
And the Daniel Penny should have clicked him. It just takes one person, and then the others will join.
I'll tell you something. Did you, after 9/11, if you flew after 9/11, did you fly after 9/11 anytime soon after?
No, not right away.
Okay, I did. I had to go to Boston and New York City, okay? And it was not long after 9/11. And we talked about this on the air at the time, and I shared an experience that I had, and a lot of people called in. They had the same experience who had flown. After 9/11, when you were on a plane and you sat down, you looked and saw who was on your left, who was on your right, who was in front of you, and you'd look and you'd wink or you'd nod. We're okay. If something happens, we know what to do. We're not gonna let something happen. There was that kind of sense of, we didn't know each other, you didn't talk, but there was a sense when you flew right after 9/11 that if you were on the plane, you were in it together. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but that's the kind of brotherhood we had in the country. And you would think, with all of the victimizing of people on the New York City subway, that the people of New York would have that bond, and they don't have any bond.
it's a cross section. You don't know.
Did you see the video?
Well, no.
Oh, there you go. If you saw the video of the cops standing there while the woman burns and the New Yorkers running for their lives, no one trying to help. It's insane. It's insane.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and I don't know if she could have been saved. I don't know.
That's not the point. You could at least attempt. A police officer has a duty to step in.
Absolutely, but to do nothing, for everybody to do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Saddest part.
Yeah. All right. I got to run for our break. Thank you for the call. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll be right back.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
The largest Kia year-end sales event ever is happening right now, only at one location.
Disgusting.
City Kia of Greater Orlando, just off the Florida Turnpike. Drive a little, save a little. The largest year-end sell-a-thon ever is going on right now in City Kia. If you're looking for a new
Totally disgusting.
or any other stop, please don't pay more for less. Nobody beats a City Kia deal. Nobody. The largest discounts ever offered are available now. Save up to $17,000 on a new City Kia. Interest rates as low as 0%. New Kia Sportage from only $149 a month. New Kia K4s from only $189 a month. All offers on select terms and models with approved credit. Upside down on your trade and total $15,000. City Kia to the rescue. The largest Kia year-end sales event ever is happening right now, only at one location. City Kia of Greater Orlando, just off the Florida Turnpike. Drive a little, save a lot. Hurry! It's City Kia's year-end sell-a-thon. Happy holiday. Visit us at citykia.com.
It's Brian Craig. We're going to tell you about Dr. Appleton's relief pain with his laser wave heat treatment. Shoulder injuries, arthritis, knee pain, all gone. And more. Don't just take my word for it. Monica will be live on the radio to tell me how Dr. Appleton reversed pain.
Welcome, everyone. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. And if you're already sub, please like the video, guys. Yeah, one of Kamala and Biden's dreamers, illegal dreamers, set her on fire.
Call Dr. Appleton right now and say bye-bye to your pain too. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. Online, AppletonCairo.com.
This is Steve Kane. I want to tell you about my favorite restaurant in all of South Florida, Wings Plus in Coral Springs. Wings just the way you like them. Plump, tender, and delicious. Crispy on the outside, succulent on the inside. Everything homemade, nothing.
Has anybody in the chat, have you ever intervened? Has there ever been like some kind of emergency, a car accident, a lost dog, something where you've intervened in your life? I have. Nothing like that, but... Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
We take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now,
All right. We're talking about these cowardly liberals in New York and the coward police officer that did nothing while a woman was murdered right in front of them. Our number 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. This is Barbara from Baltimore.
Hey, Barbara.
Town.
What's up?
How are you? I just like to say, being from New York, when I was a kid, there's a woman by the name of Kitty Genovese. who was stabbed repeatedly while people threw cans out of the windows, yelled to leave that woman alone, and she was stabbed to death. She died. And
Oh my goodness.
how my stepmom, well, Kitty Genovese, my stepmom was just mortified. She's from Florida. She was mortified by it, and New Yorkers are different. I've lived a lot of places, traveling with my husband in the military. And the big difference in the South, that would not have happened in a southern state for sure. It wouldn't have happened in a lot of places. But New Yorkers tend to be they're kind of cold, and they mind their business. That's the one thing. You learn to mind your business, and you stay away from situations and stay out.
Well, explain the coward police officer who didn't do anything.
There's no explanation for that. They should all be fired.
And maybe put in jail, maybe arrested.
Well, they arrested someone who helped. I don't know. I think.
I mean, isn't that some kind of negligent manslaughter? I mean, if you're a police officer,
dereliction of duty. I mean, and you think about it. It's wintertime. It's just like you said. Everybody had on a coat. Everyone.
Exactly. Here in Florida, I mean, I'm wearing a T-shirt, so it'd be a little difficult. But up there, I saw the people running. They got coats on. I don't even have coats that heavy, because I live in Florida.
And if they had just done that, someone threw a coat on her and started rolling her, she might not. I mean, of course, he lit her the upper part of her body, so she.
If Daniel Penny was on that subway, he would have done something.
Absolutely, but what happened with Daniel Penny? That psychological, that effect of what happened to him, what they did to him for saving all those people on that train. And that's one of the reasons why people tend to mind their business. Kind of government that would do that. The man should, and thank God President Trump honored him and, and made him, you saw how thin he got?
Yeah.
Him, how it affected him, how thin, all of this war on him. But, it's a very, very sad thing. And I wasn't going to go down to Florida because I had time, but I tell you, I never traveled during the Christmas holidays. It is not a good time to travel.
Well, that's for sure. All right. But Barbara, I tell you, because we talked about this. You were at Butler when the president was shot, and I was talking. You were behind the president, and I talked about how the crowd didn't run. It's the only time there's been a shooting like that in the public where the crowd didn't panic, and that was a crowd. If nobody, you guys didn't know what was coming. If somebody would have stormed in there with a rifle, that crowd would have taken them down. And I think that's why you all stayed there.
Everybody wanted to see President Trump.
That's right. Well, who knew? You didn't know. Yeah. All right, Barbara, take care. I appreciate the call. I don't know, this disconnect that's going on here, this lack of humanity, all these things, it's pretty brutal. You're on the air. What's your name? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Donald from New York.
Hey, Donald.
Yeah, I actually saw that video this morning. I actually thought it was fake. It was so horrific. For me, I'm 71 years old. I used to go to the city a lot for a weekend just to hang out and go to the different restaurants and whatnot. I haven't done that since Giuliani. It's gotten that bad since then. It's just like a war zone in there.
Yes.
And I agree with Daniel Penny. I mean, if he was there, absolutely would not have happened. Done something.
But you know what though? But there was a police officer there. The cop did nothing, and there's no way there are not fire blankets or extinguishers on the subway cars and the transit cops. If that guy was a transit cop, he knows where they are. I mean, nobody even that cop should be fired, should be and brought up on charges.
Absolutely. I mean, look what they did with Daniel Penny, how they put him through charges, and what they did with him. These liberals make it in a place where if you defend yourself, you're going to spend everything you have to defend yourself and keep yourself out of jail. That's how sad it is.
No, we're not. See, this is different. We're not talking about people that tried to take down the killer. We're talking about there's been somebody who's been victimized, that she's been lit on fire, and no one took off their winter coat and tried to smother the fire. Come on.
Can't wrap my head around it. I just can't wrap my head around it at all. It's so emotional and so nerve-wracking. Just shameful. Shameful. I mean, I live here in New York, and I'm also a Floridian. I go back and forth in the winter. But just shameful.
It is.
My state.
No.
My own state.
No, how can you? All right, I appreciate the call. And let me tell you, I hope there's pressure put on Governor Hochul. Now, you know, we can't turn back time and save this woman now. You know, but I'll tell you, our borders are, it's gonna make his job a little easier, because this is the face of what they're bringing here. Okay, and this guy that murdered the woman is as insane as it gets. I mean, he didn't even try to get away. It looked like he was planning on doing it again. Now, after the top of the hour break, I'm going to switch gears, but you're welcome to call in about this throughout the show. I'm going to get into the Matt Gaetz story and break that down, and tell you what I think Matt Gaetz should do, and also like to hear your thoughts on that, because what they did to Matt Gaetz yesterday was disgusting. It's pretty disgusting. So we're going to cover that, and there's a few other things we're going to cover on the program as well. Our number's toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. We are here live on Christmas Eve. Tomorrow we will not be live on the radio. There'll be Christmas music on all the radio stations tomorrow, so tune in for that. Friendly Tire in Margate, I checked with Friendly Mike yesterday. Of course, open normal hours today. Closed on Christmas, but reopened Thursday for regular hours. And, you know, I remember when I found Friendly Tire years ago, it was really a godsend. I mean, the price is basically what you're getting when you buy tires from Friendly Tire in Margate. You're getting tires at wholesale prices, because his prices are so low. He buys directly from the supplier, and he really gives you very low deals. You know, he has thousands of used tires in stock, good used tires, at good prices. But the new tires, as low as $70 a tire, new out the door and on the road, and that's common sizes on some of the most common vehicles on the road today. If you can, buy the new tires. I don't see why you wouldn't. The first time I went there, I bought used tires, and I thought it was the second or third time I went, and I just asked him for the price on the new tires. I was in shock at how low his prices are. And remember, he doesn't charge you to balance the tire, mount the tire, or even dispose of your old tires. And I know sometimes people say to me, well, he sells used tires. Well, first off, when people come in for new tires, typically their old tires aren't good to resell. And you know, it costs, he has to pay, and I was surprised how much per tire to have them taken away. I thought that somebody came by and paid him to get the old tires, because rubber, I figure that's something that, no, he has to actually pay to have the old tires taken away and disposed of. I couldn't believe it. So that he doesn't charge you for any of those things. The price he quotes you is out the door and on the road. So when he tells you $70 or $80, whatever, that depends on the size, the tire, the make, what type of tire you want, if you want a brand, that price he gives you over the phone is out the door and on the road. Doesn't charge you to balance, mount, or dispose of your old tires. And he can get you tires for any type of vehicle, all right? Any type of vehicle. He has all the name brands you know and love too. Bridgestone, Pirelli, Goodyear. If you have run flats like I do on one of my cars, incredible deals on run flats. All right, his number, give him a call. He'll give you a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. That's 954-977-9445. All right, now just to finish up on this, you know, the police officer who did nothing, okay, anytime we talk about these things, I got a lot of backlash after Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, you know, that thin blue line, like people think you're not supposed to criticize police officers or something, especially police officers. You know, I got to tell you, if I were a police officer, I would be very angry. I mean, that guy, that police officer in New York is making you all look bad. I mean, that's like that's like Mayorkas bad. That's like dirty cop bad. That's like Merrick Garland bad. I mean, that guy is just he's like almost like a corrupt cop, standing there while a New Yorker dies and doesn't even attempt to help. Never seen anything like that with a police officer. I hope it's not common. Maybe it's more common than we realize, but since everybody has cameras on their phones now, we're seeing things maybe we didn't see in the past. But I don't think that's normal. I think that phenomena, whether it's the guy at Parkland or this, is new. Or at least I'd like to think it's new. All right, we're going to take our break for the top. When we get back, I'm going to get into the politics and the Matt Gaetz story because it's very, very important. And we got a lot more to cover as well. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We'll be back right after this.
Bystander effect of someone will handle it and then everyone's
Yeah.
just watching instead. And a lot of people that I see are not noticing in the video is the illegal is fanning her as she's on fire. You see that?
Yeah, like try to make it spread.
Yeah, like he has his jacket off and or one of the jackets are like a thing.
Mhm.
He's blowing it on her.
Yes.
So I think people are because I see a lot of people are seeing that as, oh, like there's one person that's trying to help. No, that's the guy who lit her on fire.
Yeah.
That's continuing to, like, you know.
Insane.
And it wasn't just one. There was two police officers. A police officer
Mhm.
walked the other way too. So two police officers sat there doing nothing, walking side to side, and people were just watching while the guy
Exactly.
who did it is right in front of them, all continuing to fan.
Exactly. It's crazy.
I see a lot of people, this is why I hate the internet. People are saying that, oh, why is she just standing there and she's not doing anything?
Mhm.
On fire. It's like shock is
Yeah.
one of that. And
Yeah.
like people are trying to say, oh, she's on drugs because she wasn't moving. It's like,
Mhm.
like, maybe.
Yeah. Where's the story?
And beat jackpots and big money tournaments. You can also play your favorite table games on Ultimate Texas Hold'em and $5 minimum. For more information, go to pbkennelclub.com.
Brian Craig here. When it comes time to get my weather report, I don't have time to spend hours on calculators or waiting hours for those big lines. That's why I
There's no live spots on the log? Can you put the ones up for 8 too? Just so I can pace myself. If there's it, so I can pace myself. Okay.
Since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Alrighty, we are back. I'm Brian to Steve Kane Show. Hour number 2 has begun. Okay, I want to talk about what happened with Matt Gaetz. What's going on with Matt Gaetz is so sick, so twisted. All right? None of the allegations released in that report about him are true. I talked about this at the end of yesterday's show, but I want to recap that and then give you the update. Sex with underage prostitutes and doing drugs and, first off, someone that's involved in politics, are they doing coke and having sex with underage prostitutes in front of people? No. But this is how I know it's not true. And this is what I said at the end of yesterday's show, but I want to restate it. Matt Gaetz spoke at Turning Point USA in Arizona, where President Trump was. He spoke there over the weekend. Charlie Kirk runs the outfit. It's his organization that he founded, Turning Point. Turning Point, and Charlie Kirk is a Trump insider. So he knows everything that's going on. Turning Point USA is a youth outreach organization to high school and college students. If Charlie Kirk, who's an insider, believed any of that was true, would he have Matt Gaetz there? Of course not. Second, this. When President Trump gave his speech at the Turning Point event, he went through a list of shout-outs, including a detailed one about Matt Gaetz. If what was in that slanderous report were true, would President Trump have said such good things about him on stage at Turning Point over the weekend? I say no. What they're calling prostitution is insane right now. You know what they're calling prostitution? If you buy something for a date, she's now a prostitute. If you take your girlfriend shopping, she's now a prostitute. That's what they're calling it. You take your girlfriend on a trip, you've paid for sex. That's what the report is saying. By that standard, almost every woman in America is a prostitute. If any of those things were true, President Trump and Charlie Kirk would be totally disconnected from him. This is all about Kevin McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy was run out of the speaker's position. He blames Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz didn't do it alone. He was doing it with others and for us and for Trump. But this is Kevin McCarthy's revenge. Now, he resigned from Congress, but he was just reelected. He's got another term he's entitled to. He just got reelected. He resigned from his past term, Matt Gaetz. Now, he resigned because, and now my understanding is this is the only time they've released a report like this on someone who's not in Congress. Well, why don't they release all the reports? This is insane. And I'm here to tell you that Matt Gaetz should forget about that job at One America News and go back to Congress to this term he was just elected. These games that they play, Madison Cawthorn stood up to Kevin McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy set him up, got him out. Matt Gaetz stood up to the establishment, Republicans, and Kevin McCarthy. They did this. He's still entitled to that seat. He just was reelected. The new Congress has not reported for duty yet. He should show up and get sworn in. He's entitled to it, and let them deal with it. None of what they've said is true, not just because he denies it, but because President Trump gave those positive shout-outs to him over the weekend. And believe me, President Trump knows what's going on. If any of that was true, he wouldn't have done that. Same goes for Charlie Kirk, but especially President Trump, because he has access to more information than Charlie Kirk, but they both have access to a lot. I don't believe any of it. I don't think any of it is true. Now, he did say he womanized and everything, but that's not a crime. You know, they can make anything they want. If he did what they accused him of, why no criminal charges? You know, this reminds me of that. I always forget his name. Scott, the UN weapons inspector that said there weren't WMDs in Iraq. Scott, what was his last name? You know what I'm talking about? In the build-up, this Republican establishment are sleazy. Scott, I'll remember his name. Somebody will remind me. He was a UN weapons inspector. He'd been to Iraq. During the build-up to the war in Iraq, he said there's no WMDs in Iraq. He was on all the cable shows. And not only was he on all the cable shows, he was changing opinion on it. He was turning public opinion against an invasion of Iraq because he had been there. Scott Ritter was his name. Scott Ritter. And he was on all the network television shows. He was on all the cable shows. He was doing interviews on shows like this one. We may have had him on. Or maybe we had him booked and then this thing happened. And we know Bush and Cheney were lying about WMDs in Iraq now, don't we? Yeah. And then all of a sudden, one morning, I get up, I do my show prep. Oh, Scott Ritter's being arrested. They found inappropriate things with underage people on his computer. And that was the last we heard of him for a long time. Right? They set up Scott Ritter. They set up Scott Ritter because he was going against the military-industrial complex and the Republican establishment war machine. When they get you, you know, there's certain things that when people do them or are connected to them, they're done. Underage sex, you're done. Okay? That's it. They did it to Scott Ritter. They've done it to Matt Gaetz. So Matt Gaetz should report to Congress. He should report to his term. He should serve his term. I'm really disgusted by this. I mean, I'm very disappointed in how did Mike Johnson allow this to happen? You know? We got the budget thing. Okay, I can live with that because we're going to get the new budget in March with Trump. But how did Mike Johnson allow these slanders to be released when they never release these reports on members of Congress when they're no longer in Congress? So he's not in Congress right now. He resigned this seat. He actually made a deal with them not to release the report if he resigned from that term, and they released it anyway. That's why he should show up. I mean, this is nuts. It's one thing if this happened and Pelosi and Hakeem Jeffries were running the House, but we're supposed to be running the House. And this happened? Not only do I know it's not true because President Trump backed him, but he went out of his way to do it. He didn't have to do that shout out to him. He doesn't do shout outs to everybody that's there. He went out of his way to give him a shout out at Turning Point. And I believe he went out of his way to do it. Gave him a little extra shout out because this report was coming out filled with lies, filled with slanders. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. We're going to take our first break of this hour. When we get back, we'll take some calls. There's a lot more to share. I'd like to hear your thoughts on anything we brought up so far this morning. I want to tell you, though, that if you or someone you know or love suffer from neuropathy, you want to call Lighthouse Medical. You know, Lighthouse Medical has a treatment for neuropathy that works and it lasts. I keep telling you, Steve had his treatment done over 2.5 years ago. His neuropathy has not returned. What they do is an absolute miracle. You know, Steve looked long and hard before we found Lighthouse Medical for just some relief about his neuropathy. His primary doctor said there's no treatment for it. And, you know, he went to a neurologist, a specialist, no treatment. That's your life. And then we found Lighthouse Medical, and they rid him of his neuropathy symptoms. The numbness, the pain, the burning, the tingling in the hands and feet, the dizziness. the feeling of pins and needles in the hands and feet, the no feeling at all gone, and they have not returned. Give Lighthouse Medical a call. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show, and you can take advantage of their no-charge consultation. 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. And online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. They can help you no matter where you are located in America, too. Even if you're not local and you can't make it into the office, or if you're local and you can't make it into the office, they can help you even if you can't make it into the office. LighthouseMedicalCenter.com is their website, and again, the number 754-222-6642. We'll be right back.
Don't. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Hello, it's Scott Shannon with a quick reminder that the oldies are back on the radio right after 10 this morning, right here on South Florida's True Oldies Channel. Sloman's and their free home security system and free doorbell camera with professional installation offer is here. Yep, finally some great news. How would you like a free doorbell camera? You get a doorbell camera, you get a doorbell camera, and you can get a doorbell camera. The first 40 True Oldies listeners who call 833-283-5050 will get this limited time offer of a free doorbell camera that connects directly to your smartphone with installation of your Sloman Shield. And that's not all. Sloman's will give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. So you're going to get an LED touchscreen pad, 10 contacts, backup battery, and service plan. Plus, if you're one of the first 40 True Oldies listeners to call 833-283-5050, you'll receive a free doorbell camera with installation of your Sloman Shield. Keep your family safe. Call 833-283-5050. That's 1-833-283-5050.
This is Mark Laporta, son of Tom Laporta, and proud second-generation owner of Laporta Roofing. As a military veteran who served in the Army after 9/11, I've brought the same dedication and discipline to our family business. At Laporta Roofing, we've been serving our community for nearly 4 decades, and we're committed to continuing that legacy of excellence. Our team specializes in all types of roofing systems, from shingles to tile, slate, metal, and flat roofs. We're the go-to experts for single-family homes, HOA communities, and condo associations. What sets us apart is our unwavering commitment to customer satisfaction. I've personally implemented systems to ensure you receive the best in customer service and workmanship. Don't miss out on our limited time offer for a free roof inspection. Call us now at 954-604-4602 or visit us at laportaroofing.com.
If you'd like to call in, the number's pinned in the chat. If you're on hold, stand by. I'm going to go to the phones when we get back.
When it comes to dental work, there's no one better than Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. But don't just take my word for it. This is Richie the bus driver. He called in on the air to share his experience with Dr. Gupta. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Richie, Dr. Gupta. I go 139 miles to this guy. I had a broken tooth. He fixed it. It was supposed to be temporary. It lasted 2 years. He put dentures in my mouth that are a lot cheaper than anybody else. And he's excellent and no pain. I recommend this guy. To me, he's the best ever. So I want to get that out of the way.
Listen to Richie the bus driver. Go see Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. 954-922-4633. 954-922-4633.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM.
Call me on the air, Santiago, and I'll answer. All right, callers on hold, stand by. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. We are back and talked about quite a bit so far this morning. Let's go to our phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Casino.
I got to tell you, I don't go to the casino when we go on our cruises, but if they had it by name instead of numbers on the roulette wheel, I would always bet on Doug because I got other callers on hold. I took one at random, and it seems to always be Doug. What's on your mind, Doug?
Well, first I'd like to say Merry Christmas to you and Steve and your families and all the listeners. The other thing is you were mentioning that nobody got involved. You know, that seems to be the New York thing. I was walking down 6th Avenue one day, and it was during lunchtime, and the walking was almost impossible. Nobody was moving. I finally got over. I see this lady laying on the floor, dressed, and I see everybody stepping over her. I think I said, okay. Oh yeah. I said, nobody would help me. I said, this is what's going on in New York. Nope.
No. But that doesn't. Were there police officers ignoring this woman you saw, like on the subway, or not, or just regular people?
No.
Well, that's the difference. We got cops here in New York that watched her die, didn't even try.
Yeah, well, how about this? I was going out of a concert at Madison Square Garden, and it was freezing out, and a homeless woman's laying on the floor there. So I went over to a cop and said, listen, can't you put her in a home or something, man? I'm not going to go touch her.
Yeah, but this is a woman who's in a life or death situation. She's on fire. All right, Doug, I appreciate the call. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Hey, Mike.
You know, with Matt Gaetz here, here's the deal with this. He's the lawfully elected House member from that district, right?
That's right.
But here's the deal. What they're going to try and do, they're going to try to use this bogus ethics report not to seat him in the House.
No, they'd still see. He just won the seat. They would have to go through the process to remove him. You know, if he reported, Matt Gaetz should show up and take that seat. And by the way, he should run for governor or in 2 years, or Marco Rubio's Senate seat in 2 years too. But take his seat. You know, don't let them release this report of lies and scare you off. You know, Matt Gaetz is very popular in his district. There's a story in the New York Times today. They interviewed people in his district. They love him.
Right, and that's the thing. And look, he probably still has a ton more that he could release on whomever. That, I mean, this is coming from, this whole situation is coming from Kevin McCarthy's people that are still there in the House.
Yeah, snakes. I appreciate the call, Mike. Take care. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Pam from Michigan.
Hey, Pam. What's up?
I have a comment about Matt. I love Matt, and I'm a little nervous, so I'm not sure I'm going to say all this correctly, but apparently Matt knew a career criminal by the name of Joel Greenberg.
Yeah.
Greenberg was a real dirtbag, and he was looking at a long term in prison, and in order to get some time shaved off his prison term, he told these lies about Matt. And that's not really coming out in the news. It's not being covered about Joe.
No, you're right. I mean, he was singing like a canary, making up whatever he could make up to try to get some time from prison. By the way, to try to shave some time. That is correct. Yeah.
I drive that home, a little bit more. That this was. Like you said, he's singing like a canary to get out of prison and making up all this stuff about Matt. So
I'm really, the budget stuff. A lot of people are getting ticked off about that. That didn't bother me as much as this. That Mike Johnson, he's the Speaker of the House. He couldn't stop this report from being released. They never release reports on people that aren't currently in Congress, and they release this.
It's revenge, like you said, and I'm glad you're driving that home, but. Joel needs to come out a little bit more on this. And if there is some sort of investigation and they try to get him kicked out of Congress, all that'll come out. So I don't know. I just, like I said, I have not been hearing about this in the news, and I hope you talk.
All right. I appreciate it. All right. I'll take care. Appreciate the call. I saw a story yesterday. This is really a heartbreaking story. Did you hear about the gay couple in Georgia? This is in the Daily Mail. I saw this yesterday. This is really sad. 2 Georgia men. This is just a really sad story. 2 Georgia men who were convicted in the sickening sex abuse of their 2 adopted sons are headed to prison for the rest of their lives. A judge decided that a married gay couple, once darlings of the LGBTQ scene in Georgia, will each serve 100 years in prison for sodomizing their young sons that they adopted, recording the sex acts, and providing videos of the abuse to other pedos. The horrific abuse was believed to take place when the boys were as young as 3 and 5. And I'm not going to go through details beyond that. I don't know what the current law is in Florida, but this was true because I haven't kept up on this, and I don't know if it's been changed. But not that many years ago, I know for a fact it was illegal for gays to adopt in Florida, and we were the only state that did not allow gay adoptions. I'm not saying that every gay guy is like this, but it's inappropriate. You know, if you had 2 guys going around trying to adopt girls, would that be appropriate? No, it would not be appropriate. You know, and you know, when these things have been debated over the years, you know, there's I don't know if it's still illegal in Florida for gays to adopt. I don't know. And even if it is, I don't know if they abide by it. I don't know. Maybe it's not. It used to be, but we were the only state that didn't allow it by law not that many years ago, because it came up more than once. And, you know, Steve and I are both big promoters of adoption because, you know, my daughter's adopted, my mother is adopted, and Steve has 7 children, 6 of which are adopted, okay? So, you know, we're big promoters of adoption on this program, but there are certain situations where it's just inappropriate. And, you know, when there's just a way that you're supposed to carry yourself. Like when my daughter was young and I would take her and her friends places, right? I would never be alone with one of my daughter's friends. It's inappropriate. We were talking about this with the gay scoutmasters, okay? You know, and when and the Boy Scouts have been destroyed over this issue, but gays were trying to become Boy Scout troop leaders. And eventually they won, and the Boy Scouts are out of business now, pretty much. And I remember we had one of these guys on. We were talking about it. It was a big issue for years. It was debated: should gays be allowed to be Boy Scout troop leaders? And of course, the answer to that is no. And and leftists and that would call in, Democrats, they'd call in the show and they would tell us we're homo. And I say, well, wait a minute. What if I go to the Girl Scouts and want to be a Girl Scout troop leader, and my daughter's not in the troop? Is it appropriate for me, heterosexual man, to be a Girl Scout troop leader and take young girls out alone without a female chaperone? If I went down there, they would think I was nuts and something was wrong with me, and they might call the police. Because there's just certain things that are not appropriate. And it doesn't mean that everyone's going to do something inappropriate, but you don't want that out there, that it's possible that something inappropriate could be going on. You know, in the workplace, if you're a man and you've got a female that works under you, you should never be alone with her. Not that you're going to do something, but you don't want to be alone with her. If you're having a meeting, the door should be open. It really should have another person there. You ladies out there, you go to the doctor? You have a male doctor? Does he examine you alone, or does he have an assistant with him? Usually a female. That's for all your protection because, you know, I don't have to tell you. And this story's getting some publicity because it's so horrific, and it's much more detailed than I shared, but I'm not going to share the details. They're too horrific. You can read the story if you want. I'm not going to go into the details of what these sickos did. Justice has been done, but the children are forever destroyed because of it. But it is not appropriate for gay men to be adopting boys. I am sorry to tell you that. It's not appropriate. And, you know, you could say you're homophobe or whatever. There's just some things that are not appropriate. Right? No. It's not appropriate for them to adopt girls. It just shouldn't be. It opens the door up to too many things that are just not right. And what happened here may be extreme, but I'm sure there's more instances similar to this, maybe not on the grand scale, but we never hear about them, or they're covered up. Even this isn't getting the coverage it should be getting. We're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show. It is Christmas Eve. I'm Brian Craig. Our number toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll go to the phones after the break.
Making morning radio great again. You're gonna really love it. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. The greatest rock and roll hits of the 60s and 70s coming up this morning. From the All-Year Cooling Weather Center, South Florida's #1 choice for same-day AC service and installation. Here's your oldies forecast.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Michael Marone from the All-Year Cooling Weather Center. Today is Tuesday, December 24th.
Someone said, do I have a doctorate in child development? Well, I've raised a child to adulthood, so I think that gives me some expertise, yes. In fact, I think being a parent, raising a child is the equivalent. It's better than a PhD in parenting. What does a PhD teach you? Not adoption. Adoption's different. Unless there's a special needs situation. Raising a child doesn't make you an expert. Okay. Obviously, someone who's not a parent, although they'll lie and say they have 3 kids or something. But, no, it does make you an expert. But I will clarify for the liberally impaired what I'm saying.
The standard My Pillow
where they were in your 20s. You'll feel younger, have more energy, and even get your sex drive back. And for women, hormone replacement pellet therapy can completely stop and reverse the signs and symptoms of menopause. No more mood swings, better sleep, and no more night sweats. Call Dr. Matez for a free consultation today at 561-320-8893. That's 561-320-8893.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with 40s.
All right, calls on hold, stand by. Okay, I want to clarify what I'm saying for the liberally impaired. Okay, sometimes I forget, we got liberals in the audience. I have to get out the crayons and the fat pencils every once in a while. I'm not saying that gays should not have kids. I'm saying should not adopt kids, certainly of the same sex. You know, adoption, you're not entitled to adopt. You know, my daughter's adopted, private adoption. You just don't show up and they give you a kid. There's a process, a legal process you go through. And part of that process, it's been 25 years, but I remember, part of that process is you go through a home inspection with a social worker, you do interviews. When it's all over, even when the birth mother signs everything and the birth father, signs everything, you still have to go before a judge in a courtroom. It's a process. It's not, an entitlement. Okay? So what I'm saying is, should not adopt unless there's a special needs situation. There are more children up for adoption than there are parents. That is true. However, adoption is not properly promoted. If adoption were, people don't understand how adoption works. There's a lot of negative stigma. A lot of guys say, well, I can't raise a child that doesn't come from my seed. Oh boy, So, if proper promotion and education on adoption was done, there wouldn't be that problem, But, Steve and I have adopted, in his family and in my family interracially. When it's white children, there's a shortage, okay? Because some people say, well, I only want a white child. Well, right there, that should be a red flag. But if you're open to interracial adoption, the process goes faster. There are more parents looking to adopt than there are white babies available for adoption. Okay. But there's older children in foster homes and such. I understand, but regardless, except in a special needs situation. You're going to run into inappropriate situations like this if you just let anyone adopt. It is not an entitlement. All right, let's go to the phones. 1-888-465-2631 is the number. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Blast from the past, buddy.
Okay, there's a lot of those around. Oh, hey Wayne. How you doing? Long time no talk.
Yeah, I know. Just what happened was that I retired a couple of years ago, a year or so ago, and I said, I can't get your program. So I said, hey, let me call to see how you guys are doing.
Mm-hmm. You can't get the program, then I'm hearing it in the background. I thought you couldn't get it.
No, it's the TV I have on.
TV. Didn't I tell you, Mike, every time you run into somebody I haven't seen for a while, they don't listen, they haven't listened, and everything else. Anyways, so what's going on, Wayne?
What station are you on? What is it? Because I don't.
What? Are you okay? It's been a while. Do you have the Alzheimer's now? I couldn't understand what you said.
No, I said, what station is it?
We're on a bunch of radio stations.
You are?
Yeah, which I'm hearing one of them in the background.
No, you're in MSNBC.
Oh, I know. It's MSNBC. I know. Yeah, I know. Just Google the Steve Kane Show, and you'll find all our radio stations and the one nearest you. The reason we're on a lot of radio stations, so you know.
So I'm on here so I can enlighten your audience for what is going to happen in 2025.
What's going to happen in 2025?
Okay, we shall see. Every time a Republican is in, I feel it in my pocket. I tell my sons them, hey, watch it.
Yeah, what do you mean? Your pockets are heavier with money? Yes, probably.
No, it never is. When Ronald Reagan was in, when the Trumps reigned, and not the Trump, when the Bush reigned, and now the Trump, I know I'm going to be feeling it in my pocket.
Yeah. You know, this is an amazing thing. Here's Wayne, obviously with this very heavy Jamaican accent. Yeah, I know, yeah, man. It's amazing to me that this country that you think has such a history of all these terrible things for the African American man that are still relevant in society today. You left your country that's a black country, came to this white country, and you're retired, and you're still griping.
I thought this country was a mixed country. This country was built by African Americans. You like it?
Really? What was built by African Americans that you're talking about? Like what?
You look at the
But you're not African American. You're African Jamaican.
Give praise to African Americans.
What did African Americans build? You say this country was built by blacks. What did they build?
Well, if it wasn't for the cotton,
cotton. Well, that's not building.
First of all.
Now, first of all, no, the elevators.
Was the air conditioner invented by African Americans?
I know everything was invented. I know.
Yeah.
Was language invented by blacks? Was the stoplights? Of course, everything. Yes. Writing, mathematics.
Because if you think about it,
what did Whitey do? What did Whitey do?
They did a lot. What did a lot?
Well, something good.
The dynamics was done between black and
did blacks invent the wheel?
Everybody invented the wheel. That's a stupid one.
I don't know. Okay. So we didn't do that either. Okay.
One. You know that's a stupid one. One of the greatest civilizations came from Africa, and
what civilization is that?
If you look at what happened in Egypt, and when you
in Egypt,
yeah, and yes, they were the one who taught the Greeks everything, and when Alexander invaded Egypt.
Okay, but you're going back in time like 5,000, 10,000 years. I'm talking about like lately.
Well, Africa's been devastated, and they're so confused.
What's the biggest? Let's get more modern. What's the biggest contribution African Americans are bringing to America today? Would you say?
The culture. If it wasn't for the
culture, okay. What in our culture do we experience that's African American? What are they bringing?
If you look at it, the music, the clothes, how they act, the music. Of course, country and western music.
So the number one. The number one artist is a white girl, Taylor Swift.
You can put
the wealthiest and most successful African American is white. His name is Elon Musk. He's African American.
First of all, he should be challenged because
he's African American.
Elon Musk.
All right. Well, I'm gonna tell you, Wayne. I'm gonna run for the break, but I'll tell you, long time no talk. You sound just as left wing as always. But just Google the Steve Kane Show, and you'll find whatever radio station we're on in your neighborhood. The reason I didn't ask him where he won't tell me where he is. That's why I didn't say, well, where are you? What city are you in? I'll tell you what station. He would not tell me where he's located. That's why I didn't ask. Okay. He's an oldie but a goodie. I forgot about Wayne. These chronics, they think they're so important. I haven't talked to him in I don't know how long. I'd forgotten about him. But he's back. Oh, my goodness. All right. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll be back after this.
Hard Truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
Hey, my True Oldies listeners, John Tesh here with some intelligence for your retirement this time. When you're looking for a retirement advisor, you know trust and experience are two big qualities to look for. And as it turns out, my friend Jupiter Joe Thomas possesses both of these. Whether you're in retirement or looking to retire, I want you to give local expert Joe Thomas a call. Here's the number, 561-743-0999. Or, even simpler, you can go to jupiterjoe.com. Mention my name, John Tesh. You'll receive a free copy of Joe's book, Retirement Know-It-All. Great book. Call 561-743-0999. Or remember, go to jupiterjoe.com. That's jupiterjoe.com.
Now is the best time when the market is challenged to consider copper, gold, silver, battery metals, clean tech, biotech, and AI.
Hey,
equities.
hold on.
Listen to Money Talk Radio South Florida with me, Ellis Martin, 9:30 a.m. weekdays here on your True Oldie station.
At All Year, we offer same-day AC service and installation. Need to stay cool? Yes, all year. Need help today? Yes, all year. Zero down financing? Yes, all year. Call us today at 833 all year. That's 833 all year.
Welcome.
We take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now, the Steve Kane Show with...
All righty, we are back. I'm Brian, Steve Kane Show. See, how many times have I told you guys, whenever I run into someone that I haven't talked to in a long time, they always tell me the same thing. I don't listen. Where are you? Right? Every single time. It's so predictable. I knew it was coming, and he has us on in the back. He can say that's Morning Joe all he wants. If you're on hold, hang in there. We're going to check in with Ian from Cruise and Travel Depot, who, of course, handles all of our Steve Kane, Brian Craig cruises. We have our Trump Victory Cruise coming up in March, and really, we got some sad news to report, Ian. We were texting a little while ago this morning, and you gave me some very sad news that I guess it's bittersweet news.
I guess so. I mean, first of all, Merry Christmas, because at Cruise and Travel Depot, we actually say Merry Christmas.
Even though you don't celebrate it. Or do you? I don't know. You never know.
I don't celebrate it, but this year Hanukkah and Christmas fall out on the same day. Which
Yes, I know. So one of my Jewish friends was telling me that yesterday. So the sad news, the bittersweet is we're sold out of cabins on our cruise. So there's no, and I got to tell you, out of all of our cruises, I know when we've gotten closer to the end, we've sold out before, but I don't know if we've sold out. We're a little more than 3 months away.
Yep, the rest of the inventory was taken away on Friday, like we discussed.
That's it. Now, so we got a wait list now. If you want to call Ian and get on the wait list, okay. But, okay. I mean, obviously we got a big group. It's going to be a great time. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm sorry that the rest of you can't join us. Now, if any cabins do appear, we'll let you know between now and cruise time, but I'm very sad. Now, what that means, though, Ian, is that those that are going, they better book on these shore excursions we have because they're probably going to fill up.
Yeah, they're definitely going to fill up, even though they're privatized. I mean, we could technically get a bigger boat for Puerto Plata, but we got to sell it out.
Yeah. I mean, but if we get one that's too big, it takes away from the intimacy of sailing around the island on our chartered catamaran sailboat. I don't want another ship. You know what I mean? But listen, if you're joining us, if you've already booked, you're in, and you're in what apparently is an exclusive club because there's no cabins left. And I got to tell you, this is our 6th cruise. We've never done this before, not this far out. But if you're already booked and you want to schedule our shore excursions, you can do that on the cruise line website. But if you're having difficulty, give Ian a call, and he'll walk you through it. His number, you guys know it. I'll give it out, 561-244-5779, 561-244-5779. All right, Ian. Well, it's I don't know what to say to people that didn't book. I guess when we start talking about the cruise in the beginning, maybe they'll make the reservations early next time. I really feel sorry for those that aren't joining us.
People cancel all the time and checking in with me periodically.
Yeah.
On the existing wait list, rooms will come up. Sure.
All right, and if you want to get on the wait list, give Ian a call. But all right, well, Ian, take care. We'll talk soon. All right, Ian from Cruise and Travel Depot. I'm sorry, we have never sold out our cruise this early, ever. That is really amazing. And hey, you know, it's going to be a great time, though. I'm looking forward to it, especially on a chilly morning like this. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, hey, Ian. Hey, Richie.
Ian, Richie. Hey, listen, I got something.
What were you drunk? Were you drunk yesterday?
Oh, it had nothing.
On your were you on your period? What was it?
No. You want to know what it got me? When I saw "Do Not Trust Him." When I with your what do they call that? When you
with Fetterman?
Yeah, that's what triggered me. When I woke up and I went to see what the topic was going to be, and I said, "Do not trust him." I said, "Well, here's another one. He doesn't trust until Trump trusts him, and then he trusts him." So that's what got me. But anyway.
Well, yeah, of course.
I want to talk about, and I apologize if I got harsh with you. I heard calls calling up. I didn't want to disrespect you. I do respect you. You know I do respect you. Now here's the deal about the inappropriate stuff. You brought up about the adoption, and you know, a man should never be alone. I don't know. I'm against gay adoption to start with. I'm sorry, I just am. But it's not because of the I just don't think it is a healthy environment for a heterosexual person to be raised in that. In other words, I always believe that there is a mother and a father, there is a male and a female. I don't believe in same-sex adoption, whether it be female or male. To me, it doesn't work. And I see what I was going to ask you. You said it's not appropriate. You should always leave, like a doctor should leave the door open. That's also for his protection also.
That's right.
Both protections. Of course, there are crazy people out there, including heterosexual people with the adoption. There was a case in Florida. They weren't even adoption. This was, I think, they were the actual parents, where they had the young boy locked up in the garage and they made a room and a box.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah, that's right. But you know that this is the thing. Okay, when it comes to adoption, the ideal thing is to find the home that best represents the stereotypical American family, and I just don't believe in same-sex adoption, and I'm an adoption advocate. You know, and I'm not saying that same-sex couples should not have children, but they got to do it the old-fashioned way. You know, and there are ways to do it. I mean, sometimes when adoption was illegal, and it may still be illegal in Florida. I don't know. It used to be, but I knew some gays. They would do the test tube babies. A lot of times, you know, artificial insemination. A lesbian friend would have the baby for them or something like that. There was a lot of that went on. I'm not saying that if it's a natural situation, they shouldn't be able to have kids. That's crazy. But I'm talking about adoption. And this story is horrific.
Well, there's the other thing I wanted to say to you. You know, it's I think it has to do with the craziness of society. Now, I'm not going to knock the Catholic Church. You're religious. You actually changed to become a Catholic. You say they're the original Christianity. And I would think that it would be normal to be able to be a choir boy and be alone with a priest, for God's sake. If you can't trust a priest, who the hell can you trust? And yet, you can't be alone as a choir boy with a priest because society is sick. It's not just a religion is sick. It's all religions are sick.
Listen. There's pervs in every aspect of society. I mean, of course. But what we're talking. But listen, when a child is up for adoption, okay, there's a reason for it, and you're trying to replicate the most stereotypical perfect home for them. So, you know, single people shouldn't be adopting either, in my opinion. It's not just gay. It's not just same sex. It should be a mother and a father. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, but it also turned out that you spent, because of Kathy's illness, okay, you spent a major, probably more time for a father to be with the daughter than any other situation. I mean, and you raised a beautiful young lady. And because you were a decent person,
But what if you were some kind of a wacko in the same situation? So adoption, I don't think you could look into a crystal ball when you're investigating.
Listen. Why? This is the situation, okay? And I don't know if this is an appropriate conversation on Christmas Eve, but we'll finish this, then I'll move on. The natural order of things between a man and a woman, men and women are wired differently. Men are wired to have sex with as many people as they possibly can, and what keeps us in check are women, because women can become pregnant. They have a natural instinct, except for these OnlyFans girls, okay? But women have a natural instinct to not be as promiscuous because they can get pregnant. There's a consequence that they'd have to deal with. So women put the brakes on men. And by the way, that transfers to our wives. You get two guys together, there's no one there to put the brakes on, okay? And things get out of control when you have two guys. I'm sorry.
Let me say this to you. I used to make, and this is very clean. You won't have to put me in hang up on this one. When I used to go out on a Friday night when I was a single man and I'd meet my friends, I would go to a bar and I would say, I hope I meet a lady tonight. A woman that goes to a bar has the option. I know I'm going to meet a man tonight, or I'm not going to meet a man tonight. In other words, it's up to the lady.
Even if she's fat, ugly, and doesn't bathe and get dressed up, she could. Yes, exactly.
Completely controls the situation because men are dogs. And I remember seeing this one. We had on the bus. I drove a bus. And I had this one woman. I don't even know what to call her. A woman. She was always high on glue around Young Circle.
Yeah.
And guys used to brag. All these homeless guys.
Oh my goodness.
This girl.
Oh my goodness.
To myself, yeah, like a alley cat. And I'm saying, it's terrible. I mean, they're human beings. I'm sorry, you can't even no matter what all adoptions, but you can't.
But in a normal adoption, there's a husband and a wife. There's a wife there that keeps the wives keep us guys under control. You get two guys, you there's no control mechanism. That's the reason. That's why. And frankly, I mean, you look at Mayor Pete. He's a weirdo. Him and his husband with the kid, they are weirdos. Okay.
But that's like Levine. Rachel.
Yeah.
How can you raise a child and say this is a normal situation?
And by the way, I want to say another thing too that's unrelated. Richie and I got into it yesterday. That's not the worst we've gotten into it. Okay, over the years, Richie and I really gotten some drag out knife fights here. That's a very unusual thing today. These young guys are so woke. Guys get into arguments and take each other down and get nasty and rude, and then it's like no big deal 10 minutes later. It's just like that. That's how it is. And the.
This to you. I'm not going to say this to you. You also said, and Steve and you have said this for years, and I agree 150% with you. Folks, this is a radio station. It's a show. And I'm saying Brian isn't straight up. That isn't Brian. Brian, and I've been on a cruise with Brian, and Brian is Brian. Brian is a good man. I mean, and people have disagreements. But remember, he's entertaining. He's not boring. And that's why when Wayne called up, it was really, I loved it because Wayne is an ignorant person.
Yes, he is.
But Wayne doesn't realize it's not what the black man built in this country. It has to do what Americans built in this country.
Yes.
White, tan, purple, it doesn't matter. We built this country as Americans.
And you know what's so twisted about the left? Wayne is an immigrant who comes from a 100% black country. He comes to a country that he thinks is a racist country, America, and he's retired and got his feet up retired, trying to find something to kill time with. His life's been pretty good for a racist country for a black man, it seems to me. Maybe it's not a racist country, Wayne. All right, Richie, good to talk to you. If you're on hold, stand by. Oh my goodness. I tell you, it's Christmas Eve, guys. It feels like Christmas Eve. I think I've been on the air pretty much every Christmas Eve that I've been in the radio business. I did one thing one year where we did that thing where Santa was calling in to NORAD, I did that one year, and I was on the air one night on Christmas Eve, and Santa they kept calling me from NORAD, giving me the Santa sightings from. Oh my goodness. Do they still do that? Or not? I don't know. Who knows? All right, listen. If you're on hold, hang in there. We're going to take our break for the top of the hour. It's Christmas Eve, guys. 2 hours down, 1 to go. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. Our number, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We'll take our break for the top of the hour, come back with your calls, and there's a few more things we got to touch on, and I might recap that Matt Gaetz stuff, too. We'll be back after this.
WSFS 104.3 HD3 Miramar. WIRK 103.1 HD3 Indiantown. And Huron Broward on 96.9 FM. Boca Raton on 95.3 FM. West Palm Beach on 95.9 FM. And in Martin County on 106.9 FM. Programming paid for by Vic Canales Media Group. Your home for the Steve Kane Show. From the All-Year Cooling Weather Center, South Florida's #1 choice for same-day AC service and installation. Here's your oldies forecast.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Michael Brown from the All-Year Cooling Weather Center. Today is Tuesday, December 24th, 2024, and right now it's 63 degrees outside. As we go throughout the day, though, temperatures are going to reach as high as 74 degrees, with cloudy conditions expected throughout the whole day. So make sure you stay warm, stay hydrated, and have a wonderful start to your Tuesday.
Weather brought to you by All Year Cooling. Enjoy free AC replacement estimates along with same-day service and installation. Visit allyearcooling.com to schedule your service today. And remember, the All Year family
If you're on hold, hang in there.
all year long. And now, a true oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club. PBKC is your entertainment destination with poker, casino table games, off-track betting,
Oh my goodness.
exciting events. Come out to the newly renovated poker room at PBKC, open daily for cash games, high-hand giveaways, mega bad beat jackpots, and big money tournaments. You can also play your favorite table games like Ultimate Texas Hold'em and 3-card poker with just a $5 minimum. For more information, go to pbkennelclub.com.
Say goodbye to the holiday hustle and hello to paradise. Margaritaville at Sea is making it easier than ever to plan your next big cruise adventure. Book your spring break, summer escape, or winter retreat today and enjoy 50% off cruise fares. Plus, kids sail for free. Picture turquoise waters, sandy beaches, and tropical cocktails while exploring Nassau, Grand Bahama Island, or Key West. All conveniently sailing from Palm Beach on the award-winning Margaritaville at Sea paradise. Don't sleep on this deal because cabins are filling fast. Give your whole family a slice of paradise they'll never forget today at margaritavillatsea.com.
I got an itch, so I'm going to use the door jamb to scratch my back. Oh, NORAD still does that? Yeah. It was pretty cool to do that.
Advertising on our radio station, so don't use the rest. Only go to any lab test now with Poker and any lab test now with Coral Springs. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on the radio.
Hello, this is Mike at Friendly Tire. I've been in business 30 years at the same location and offering great deals on new and used tires. I have many suppliers. Whatever car or truck you have, I can get you incredible deals on any tire. I also do tire repairs at very low prices. Give me a call. My number is 954-977-9445. I will give you a price over the phone on new and used tires. Again, my number is 954-977-9445.
I was just thinking about something.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane.
All right, it's the Christmas Eve edition of Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. If you're on hold, hang in there. I got to do some. I think this may be the longest running radio show in America. I got to look into that. I know if you Google it, it says the Grand Ole Opry, but it's not with the same host. So that's a big difference. Well, yeah, let me just go to the phones. I had a couple things, but let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, good morning. It's Brian from Vero Beach.
Hey, Brian, how you doing?
You
sound tired.
I'm home for Christmas.
Yeah, but you don't sound well. You've been in and out of the hospital the last couple. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay, but I was listening to you earlier from about 6 o'clock, and the thing about everything that you've talked about is really personal with me in one way or another. I'm just resting. Everything got worked out.
Great.
Doing good.
That's good news.
But the thing about it was, I didn't see what happened with the police officers up in New York.
Well, I'll recap for people that weren't listening in the first hour. I started the show with this. It was really disturbing to me. This woman that was murdered, lit on fire on the subway in New York. There was a police officer just standing there while the woman burned alive, didn't even try to get a fire extinguisher or smother the fire with a winter coat or a blanket. And the people running away, no one offered to help. And I'm listening to the news, and they keep talking about this Daniel Penny effect. This is not the Daniel Penny effect. These are people just don't care anymore, and they didn't even try. And this is just, it's not the New York of September 11th, where the New Yorkers got together to fight off something terrible. It was terrible to see that police officer should be fired and charged with something.
Let me let you know. Back in Miami, my uncle was in the robbery unit, and him and his partner were on their way home from Miami-Dade to Broward County, and there was a armed robbery call or assistance for help. They went back, and he was one of the responding officers. But they were on their way home, and he ended up getting shot. He survived, but he ended up getting shot. Everything, they got the guy, but he responded. But and I've been in law enforcement, around law enforcement all my life, my father and everything. But that was from back in the 50s and 60s and all throughout. But for my father.
Yeah.
But there was never a hesitation.
Years ago, this just popped in my mind. I'd forgotten about this. When I was young, my mother got mugged in Pompano, and she did something really stupid. Okay, my mother was. Those of you that are familiar with Pompano, she was on Sample Road, just east of I-95 at a red light, and some guys came in a truck making the left across and crashed into her and kept going. And what my mother did that was really stupid is she followed them. And I was young. I was like in high school, so this was so long ago. She didn't have a cell phone because people didn't really have cell phones then. That's how long ago it was, right? And she followed them to and she got out of. Well, what happened was they hit her and they did stop. She got out of the car. And they got out of their car. They were in a truck, and they grabbed my mother's purse and sped off, and then she followed them. And she got the police somehow. I don't remember how. It's been a long time. And she saw they ran into this apartment building, and I remember the cops wouldn't go in because they were scared. So somebody else told me this. I was talking to somebody in the family. They said it was such a bad area, they were afraid to go in there and chase those guys down. I understand being a cop can be scary. I understand being a police officer. You're risking your life sometimes, but that's the job, right? I mean, they volunteered to do this, and when I see that police officer standing there doing nothing, we've seen this before. Remember in Uvalde during that school shooting, they didn't go in for a long time, and then when they went in, they didn't do anything, and the one guy got the hand sanitizer. He didn't want to get the COVID or something. Remember that? I mean, there's really been, in my opinion, we have a lower quality of person that are police officers today. Just a much lower quality. And we're seeing it all the time. No.
But anyway, I just wanted to give a call. and let you know I was all right. But I also
Oh, that's good to know.
the thing about the adoptions. I'll talk about that another time. But it's everything that you've talked about today is very personal.
Well, I agree. I'm going to move on, but have a good Christmas, and I'm glad you're out of the hospital and home, Brian. Take care. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Once. Oh, you just made it. Hey, Jay, Merry Christmas, and I'm assuming you do Kwanzaa, so Happy Kwanzaa, which starts the day after Christmas.
Okay. Calling on something that I know about because I've done it. Adoption. I've told you, but some way or another, you always come up with some crazy mess with me. I've adopted a son. Yes, I did. He's 21 years old today. Had him since he was 3 days old.
How'd that happen?
It happened because you have to have a background, a clean.
No. Was this? How? No. What led up to you? Because honestly, black guys don't do too much adopting. So was this you and your wife adopted? Okay, and what was the situation?
My wife worked with the child's mother's.
The child's mother or something.
So when the mother couldn't keep the child, the sister was talking about it. My wife decided that we're going to take the baby, and that's what happened.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It's adopted.
That's cool. Is he a racist like you? Did you raise him to be a white hater?
Let me finish what I got to say. Because that's what I'm getting ready to get to. I don't believe to check somebody else about how or what they adopt. I don't believe in gayness and all this, that, and the other. But then I don't have a problem with people adopting people. Something that I wouldn't worry about because I'm not gay and I don't have to worry about it.
Yes.
Adopt, they adopt. But at the same time, when you judge somebody, I have to look at the fact that you're judging them because they're gay. I'm judging you because you're a racist who adopted a black child.
Mm-hmm.
So at the same time, like that either.
Yeah.
Never want someone. White people can adopt black kids.
Oh, thank you.
Time I know you and Steve.
You don't know us.
Both adopted black kids. No, I don't know you. I would never want to know you. You know what I do know? You did a horrible decoration with Christmas with that little simple thing you got hanging in the back of you. Looks like a fool.
What are you talking about here at the radio station? We have beautiful. Back here at the radio station. This is. You think this is This isn't the whole radio station. This little window you see. There's a beautiful tree in the lobby.
Behind you. That's all I'm talking about. You could have did better than that.
Oh well,
Right, so same time, y'all adopted black kids.
Yeah. Why would racists do that?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. I've never been able.
Maybe we're not racist. Have you thought about that?
No, it's pretty hard not to face that you're a racist.
But let me though. Listen, your adoption. Okay, so there was a child in a very bad situation, and you and your wife adopted a child, raised your son, and that's an awesome thing. And I'm not gonna criticize you for that. I mean, that's a good thing. You gave a child a very good home with a mother and a father in it, and that's how adoption should be, in my opinion. I think adoption, it shouldn't be based on politics and things like this, but you want to try to replicate the as close as you can to the stereotypical American family. That's a mother and a father, and that's what you had, and that's what we have, and that's what Steve has had with his adoptions. Although he's adopted with different wives because he's been married a couple more than 3 times. But no, that's a good thing that you did. I'm not going to criticize you for adopting.
I know it's a good thing. I have the best son in the world.
Yes.
The son has never been in trouble. His son
awesome.
Is very good. Got everything going for him in college. Just like I told you, he plays lacrosse. My son's doing.
But Steve and I, no, I'm going to leave it first. I was going to share something, but I'm going to leave it first. He's not going to hang up on me. I mean, is he out of his mind? Making fun of our Christmas decoration. We have beautiful Christmas decorations here at the radio station. All right, let's go. Let's see. You know, that's how much they want to try to get you. They give you a hard time about your Christmas decorations. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Maria from Montana.
Hey, Maria. What's up?
Hi. First, I wanted to see if I can clear something up with you. I called in Friday, and you and I were talking, and I was talking about Adam, and I'm not going to say his last name again, but I mispronounced his name and was saying SCH.
I don't spell it. I know. Okay. All right. Don't spell it. I get it. I understand.
Saying that, okay. So, and I didn't have my dentures in.
Oh, yeah.
That way, so I apologize. I was not disrespecting your show.
That's okay.
Yeah, I don't know if I stepped in and I'm just...
You know, sometimes with the profanities, they happen, and I do err on the side of caution. Maybe sometimes I'm too quick on the dump button, but you know, it's better to be overcautious than not very cautious.
I was like, no. But okay, anyway, what is it? I know you wanted to move on from the adoption thing.
No, I'm always into promoting adoption. Are you kidding?
Yeah, I agree. I just, personally, I've known many, many gay couples who are struggling to get and adopt, and they're qualified families and good people and blah, blah, blah. I mean, and I know that's the hard part about today is you see it coming towards you, and I'm going to see it because I guess that's all of us. It's, they're coming towards you like a woman in the bathroom. I don't know your heart, and I don't know what's in your pants. I just know that you are a man in my bathroom. I'm using that as to go towards the adoption. When you have two gay couples, or a gay couple, we all appear beautiful, don't
Okay,
we?
Okay, this thing about being opposed to gay adoptions, let me tell you why I have that belief. I didn't always think that way. Years ago, Rosie O'Donnell, you guys know Rosie O'Donnell, she made Rosie O'Donnell, I don't know if she still does this, but she used to do a gay cruise for gay families with kids, okay? And she did a documentary on this, and I don't remember what it's called, but look up Rosie O'Donnell gay cruise documentary online. I'm sure it's online somewhere. And they interviewed in this document, and this was Rosie O'Donnell, and they interviewed parents and children, okay? And there was this one girl who was, at the time of the documentary, was like a teenager, and she had two lesbian moms. One of them was actually gave birth to her, so I don't know if she was married to a man. I don't remember. It's been a long time. And this girl, she was like 16-ish, and she was with her two moms. Their moms are gay. And now this isn't an adoption situation because one of these women gave birth to her. But she told a story that is in this Rosie O'Donnell documentary that they thought was cute. And I thought it was disturbing. And this is what happened. She had a nightmare one night. And she thought something was wrong with her. She tells the story in the documentary. She went and woke up her two moms about her nightmare. Her nightmare was that she was kissing a boy. And she thought something was wrong with her because she liked boys. And this is in the documentary, and these people, their mind is so far gone, they thought that was a cute story. The moms thought it was cute. Obviously, Rosie O'Donnell thought it was cute. And I thought, wow, that's not good. So, yeah, exactly. Isn't that something? So, so what and then I remember, because I watched that's before Rosie O'Donnell was on The View and stuff and became such a nasty never-Trumper. This was before Trump came down the escalator. It's been a long time.
Tom Cruise?
Yes, exactly. She had a thing for Tom Cruise, that act, back in those days. But if you watch that documentary, it's in there. The story is probably more detailed because I haven't seen it. But I remember watching that, and I was like, wow, that's bad. She thought something was wrong with her because she's not gay. And I thought, well, so that's when I started to say, as pro-adoption as I am, I don't know about gay. But this wasn't an adoption. One of the women actually gave birth to her. So, but it was a different thing. But I thought that blew me away. But what was so disturbing about it is that Rosie and the moms and the documentary people, they thought that was a cute, funny story, not something that was messed up. If they thought it was messed up, they would have edited it out. It wouldn't have been in the documentary.
How that would go through now today if that story just came out, if everybody started watching it and brought it up again, I wonder how it would be received today with so many people. I'm meaning that probably isn't a cute story today, even though it wouldn't have been then either.
Yeah,
Or
I do.
Like that it seems like, it's not just with the Trump election, it feels like this woke shit.
There she goes again. I had to dump her again. So she didn't slip the first time. That's just how she talks. She's trashy. She's trashy. She's a trashy lady. It's Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Now back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at...
All right, we're back. All right, has the delay re-engaged? You got to be quick on the button around here. Do we have Barry? Okay, we're going to talk to it. If you're on hold, hang in there. We're going to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel. Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Good morning, Barry.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing great. What do you have for us on this Christmas Eve?
Well, that's exactly what I have for you. I was going to wish you and Steve and everyone at the station and the listeners, our team at the Siegel Law Group, all of our clients, everybody, a very Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, whatever holiday you're celebrating. Some people celebrate both, and and I'm wishing you all not just Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah, but a joyful time during this period, during this time that you might be with family and friends, and to enjoy. And just, really think about the people you care about, the people you love. I mean, that's what we do at the Siegel Law Group is we help people plan so that the people they leave behind are well taken care of, so they don't leave a mess behind, so the people you leave your assets and everything to receive it in a protected way, and to make sure that you don't run out of money during your lifetime. That's what we do at the Siegel Law Group, so this is for you and your loved ones. So just, appreciate the moments that you have with everyone. Enjoy your holiday, and that's my message.
All right. Well, let me give out the Siegel Law Group number. Are you guys open today? Our parking lot's empty out here. My car's the only car out there. Okay.
But
okay.
Open for most of the day.
I don't know what's going on here. Our whole office complex is closed down. Well, listen, remember the Siegel Law Group, it is always a no-charge consultation with the Siegel Law Group if you mention you heard Attorney Barry Siegel on the program. And no matter where you are in the state of Florida, the Siegel Law Group can help. Give them a call, 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782. And online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel, we'll see you later in the week. Okay, all right, we are back. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Never Trumper Steve here in beautiful Palm City.
Hey, what's up?
Steve.
Merry Christmas. Where's Palm City, by the way? I'm not sure. What county?
Oh, that is, why am I going blank on my own county?
Oh, my. You don't know what county you're? Are you okay? MAGA Martin County.
I haven't had my second cup of coffee yet.
MAGA Martin County.
It's next door to Stewart. I'm sure you know Stewart is.
Yeah, my in-laws live there. I go there all the time.
Yeah, 5 minutes. We hug Stewart. We're right next door.
MAGA, Martin County. A liberal guy, never Trumper like you, lives in MAGA, Martin County. Oh, my goodness.
Okay, so give me a few seconds to speak. I know you like to jump right in. And I've always said immediately after Trump's win in the election, the first thing I said on your show is that I'm an American first. And even though I don't like Trump's policies, you know, I want him to be successful because that's good for America. And unfortunately, I find a lot of MAGA people the opposite way around. They're more first MAGA, and then they're worried about everything else. I wanted to talk about the Matt Gaetz situation. And I'm not sure you were even going to bring it up, other than the fact that your listener brought it up in the first hour, and then you kind of...
No, I talked about it. I talked about it at the top of the 7 o'clock hour. I talked about it.
You did. And that's why I'm calling in, because I want to give your audience the full information, not just the information you wanted to give them. First of all, when you said there's never been a case where someone has resigned from Congress, that the report was released. Do you believe that? Because that's what you said.
Well, no, I'm sure it's happened, but it's a rarity. This was done to try to destroy him after he left. This is not...
It's been done, but it was done in...
Everything's always been done before, but it's not the norm. They did something unusual. Who did they release a report on last time?
That was Nathan Deal. He was a Republican from Georgia.
Yeah, another Republican to destroy, yes, after he left. That's what they do.
But when do you accept a fact? When will you ever accept when something comes out factual that you don't like, that you destroy? Because the reason he left Congress moments before the report would be released, because both he and Gaetz both thought, gee, if I resign, maybe they won't release the report. But in his case, he was using his position in office.
Now, a lot of time, listen. I don't believe any of that report about him is true, because President Trump basically endorsed him at Turning Point, and President Trump, who knows everything that's going on, would not be talking positively about him if that stuff was true.
Okay, just slow down. First of all, both you and Trump both have pretty big egos. I don't think you...
You obviously don't know me.
Well, you do have... I live...
Really? Give me an example of my overinflated ego. I got to hear this.
Well, first of all, when Trump announced his nomination, you were giddy to the point of, oh my God.
Yeah, but where's the part about my ego? I got an out of control ego, like I'm full of myself. Give me that. I want to hear that.
Personality.
As an example.
You're not sure how to respond to me. You press the 7-second delay button and have lied to your audience.
Not true. No. Now, with the last caller who used the S word, and she used it last time, yeah, because I dumped it. I told that caller, she said it. Yeah, she said it. She said it the last two calls. She said the S word. I told that caller, because she denied she said it the last time she called, and I said sometimes I might be overly cautious on the dump button, because once it's out, it's out. So if I remember I dumped you a week or two ago, not only did I think you said something, Mike, our board op, we both thought it, and if we were wrong, we were wrong, but we have to err on the side of caution. When we think we hear profanity, we got to assume it was there. You can't walk that back.
Technical problem with my phone. I called right back in. There was no technical problem, and then you changed.
No, you did have a problem with your phone, and but where's my? I'm waiting for this you said that I have an overinflated ego. I'm waiting for this example of me having this. Oh, what have I done or said with this ego?
I listen to your show. It's an overall impression when you name call people. I'm not just saying me. When Joni Ernst did not give a ringing endorsement of Pete, you started talking about her hair. I mean, it's this overall impression. She
does have a problem. Joni Ernst's hair is pretty bad. You got to admit that, man. Come on.
Her coming down the hallway in Congress, I looked at her hair and I said, what is wrong with her hair? I have no idea what's wrong with her hair.
Okay.
To that even.
Well, yeah.
But anyway, let me get back to Matt Gaetz. You are saying that even though the committee has an equal number of Republicans and Democrats, 5 and 5,
yep,
which meant that at least one of them, of the Republicans, voted on the side of
that's right
to release the report, and Gaetz left Congress made the announcement in the hopes, just like the Neil guy, the Deal guy, that therefore the report would not be released.
Correct.
Shouldn't we know if they found evidence of prostitution? They have text messages. You didn't tell your audience. They have text messages from him and the girls. How many of them?
Well, excuse me. The thing about it, why would he, what you're asking is, why would he resign if it was not true? Is what you're asking, okay? Right? And that's what you're trying to ask me, and I got an answer. There's two possibilities, okay? One of them, he's trying to save the embarrassment of his wife and his family. That's one possibility, okay? No, not good to nothing's going to be good enough to you because you hate Matt Gaetz. The second one, and I'm not going to get into more detail on this, but what you're talking about are these online payments. I think it was like Vimeo or whatever, one of the online payment. Okay, the text.
They have the evidence of bank records of.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but the thing about let me finish. The thing about the payments, there's two possibilities with that. There's one that he's covering for somebody that he might want to cover for. That there was somebody else doing this and he's covering. The other possibility is what they've turned prostitution into is if you've ever dated someone and you've taken them on trips or spent money on them or bought them something, she's a prostitute. And that's just not the case. Matt
Take a group of girls to the Bahamas and pay them for the trip for sex. Yes.
Pay them for the sex. No, I've taken trips before I was married. I've taken trips to other countries and places with girls. And I paid. It was not prostitution. That's just what a gentleman does.
Use the impermissible gifts.
This is what I know. There is no burden of proof on the committee. And yes, the Republicans there betrayed. But we have some Kevin McCarthy establishment guys there. This is the revenge of Kevin McCarthy. If any of that were true, President Trump would not have anything to do with Matt Gaetz. Yet he praised him and endorsed him again at Turning Point over the weekend in Arizona.
Yes, and he has egg on his face for this reason. Even calling his Senate Republicans to push Gaetz along, they would have none of it. And so his ego now will not allow a problem with Pete. He won't call, and he's letting him hang out to dry on his own.
All right. Never Trump. It must be really tough living in Martin County, hating Trump with all those Trump bumper stickers on all the cars up there.
You're right. There's so many clear Republicans in this state. If you're a Democrat, you're not going to win.
Matt, let me tell you something. Martin County is the most pro-Trump MAGA county in Florida, and this is a Republican state. And it must be. I mean, it's like a Republican straight guy living in Wilton Manors in Broward County. It's crazy. All right, Never Trumper Steve. Merry Christmas.
Time this time.
That was my Christmas gift to you. All right, take care. We'll be right back.
Making morning radio great again. I think you're gonna really love it. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Guilty, really. There's been criminal charges and a trial and convictions, or I don't think so. Where do you get this guilty thing? Exactly. I gotta admit though, don't you guys think, Richie said what got him triggered was my thumbnail on yesterday's show with Fetterman. I said, what did it say? Don't trust him or this man. It was one of those others. Hold on, it was something like, what did I put on there? It's Fetterman, and it says, don't trust him. Why would that freak out Richie? Hey, how's it going?
Merry Christmas.
Yeah,
morning.
absolutely. Oh, awesome. Awesome.
She said it twice. She said it here and here. Yeah. She said it twice in that recording, which you don't.
Yeah.
And she said it here.
Yeah.
So she's not being allegations. And then Trooper Steve, you can easily just go to the recording on the website where you hear his literal call being like all distorted. We're not mechanics. We don't do that kind of stuff.
I heard. I don't remember, but you got to
It
err on the
definitely
side of
sounded-
caution.
When I was editing it, it definitely sounded like.
Believe me, if you missed it,
Yeah.
they'll be the first ones to rat you out, right?
They'll be on. Oh, there you go. You know.
I'm very
didn't hear it.
cautious.
I didn't hear it. Oh, good.
See what happened, with the dump, for those that don't know, we're on a delay. It's like 7 seconds. So if somebody uses profanity, we dump it so it doesn't go out over the radio. And many years ago, I missed the dump button once, okay? And it was the F word. And this was like 20 years ago. So I'm overly cautious with it. But that, I told you what happened. There was the news guy. Oh, Vic, listen to this. I used to work at 940 Winds, right? We had a news guy. So I go to the men's room, and we can hear in the men's room, and he messed up. And he says, credit with the suppliers, and that spells bad news for the homeowner or right into the mic during his news knowledgeable. And I'm in the men's room, and I'm like, oh crap, I can't get back in there to dump it, right? So they call that, and he blames me. He blames me because I didn't hit the dump button. No, I said you said it. You're blaming me. You said it. The dump button's not for on-air people. The dump button is for the callers, not the talent.
Come on, man.
It's crazy.
See, New York City, the producer would have gotten in trouble.
Oh, yes.
Because it's their job to
Well, shit goes
get
down.
the final line. And they're not going to yell at the talent.
No.
So they would yell at the producer.
Yeah.
Right? So the producers used to never go to the bathroom during
Yeah, you
shows.
Off air, I know you always say make sure the mic is off just in case.
Always. I always act as if it's on.
Yeah, you got to be careful.
Always.
It sucks.
Always.
It's like when I was on the air in New York City, there was a period I never cursed because like
Dude.
you would have to train your body and your mind not to curse.
That's
because,
right.
Like now, like I couldn't go on the air now. F-bomb and F-bomb. Like when I'm in Miami, I record every live break and then I play back.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Yeah.
You get distracted, right? Like easily distracted and like.
It can happen. I never forget that guy. John M. was his name. I'll never forget him. John M.
There's been times in Miami where I give out the request line number, but I'm giving out the number of KTU from like 20
Oh, yeah. Because you're on Tabit.
Yeah. It's great.
It's embedded in your brain.
A lot of calls this morning?
Yeah, a little. It's not as busy as I'd like, but it's Christmas Eve.
Yeah, we're going to go right to music after you today.
Oh, okay.
Everything all lined up.
And then we're, yeah, you're the only live person. You're the only show today.
Yeah.
And then we're going to do just music straight to 6 o'clock tomorrow.
Christmas?
Yeah.
Or oldies?
Christmas music till 6 p.m. tomorrow.
Starting at 9, I'll announce.
Starting at, yeah, well,
Or 10.
I don't know. Are we starting at 9 or at 12? I have to look at the log. I think it's 12 noon it starts. I think it starts at 12 noon. So.
All right, well, have a good Christmas.
You too. I'll be here.
All right.
I'll be local. I'll be here till Thursday. Thursday I gotta go to Oregon, and then I gotta go to New York on Saturday for a concert.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Exciting.
I almost had to go to Oregon today. I was so pissed.
What's colder, Oregon or New York?
New York. I I'm finally selling that
Oh.
business, so it's just been a headache.
Brian Craig.
All righty, we're back. Oh boy, I'm the only live show today on the whole radio station. I just heard we're going to Christmas music. We don't know what time yet. Do you know what time yet? I don't know. I know 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock. Okay, eventually we're going to music, Christmas music. No, I'm serious. If you're looking for good, I know a lot of people play Christmas music, but I do. We're not, but we're playing like the real good Christmas music here. None of that Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey's not in the mix. Bruce Springsteen, I don't know. Oh my goodness. We're playing like the real Christmas music here. All the way through tomorrow. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello? Yes, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's Steve Recorder from Rochester.
Hey, what's up?
Merry Christmas to you.
Well, thank you.
Steve and Kathy. What I want to talk about is Matt Gaetz. This guy is having a trial by the media, not in the court. What bothers me is they have this Congress fund to cover up sexual conduct in Congress. This is a must to make public.
Well, listen. This is the deal. This is the deal. Okay. Okay. I'll take Never Trumper Steve at his word that in 2010 they slandered another Republican and released a report, obviously targeting a Republican. Matt Gaetz took down Kevin McCarthy. The Speaker of the House is a much bigger deal than people think. They're treated equally to the president. They have their own plane like Air Force One. They have a presidential Secret Service detail. They have a guy from the military with a nuclear football that follows them around everywhere because they're third in line of succession. It's president, vice president, speaker, okay? And they're treated like the president, and their offices are even more glorious than the president. It's a big deal. And there's a lot of, on top of all the crooked deals, but there's a lot of prestige. And Kevin McCarthy was pushed out, and he focuses his hate on Gaetz. And if you remember Madison Cawthorn was the good-looking Republican in the wheelchair, right? Remember, he talked about the sex parties in Congress, and look what happened. Kevin McCarthy set him up, and boom, he got him out of Congress. Nothing could convince, unless President Trump came out and said it was true. Okay, President Trump knows everything that's going on with these people. And he was singing the praises about Matt Gaetz at Turning Point. No way would President Trump do that if these charges were true. No way. There's just no way. So that's all. I mean, that's all that you know. So that's that. And releasing this report. This is not a criminal investigation. There's no fact finding. There's no proof. Okay, this is like this. It's gossip. They released gossip. That's correct. That's correct. And I read through the whole thing. Okay, they want us to believe that a politician, Matt Gaetz, had underage girls, prostitutes. He paid them, had text message records of it. And he had sex with them in front of other people while he was doing cocaine at the same time in front of other people. When people do crimes like that, they don't do it in front of other people. And by the way, that's if somebody was so reckless, somebody like Matt Gaetz, okay, would not, if they were doing that crime, they wouldn't be doing it in front of other people. And if they were so reckless, you would have a record of this happening over and over again. That's not a one-time thing, okay? So you put all that together. Now, if it wasn't for President Trump singing his praises over the weekend, it'd be a different deal. By the way, Steve Bannon yesterday on the War Room said that he should report to Congress since he just got reelected too. And I promise you, Steve Bannon knows everything that's going on too. So he's got Charlie Kirk's endorsement, he's got Steve Bannon's endorsement, and he's got President Trump this weekend singing his praises. Those are three guys that I have more respect for than Never Trumper Steve. And they know what's going on.
He should be back in Congress.
Absolutely. Hey, listen, appreciate the call. Have a great Christmas, all right? We're behind on our breaks because I let Never Trump. See what happens when I let Never Trumper Steve go on, and then it's, we'll take our last break and be back. All righty, and it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated. How are the gold and precious metal markets looking on Christmas Eve, William Youngerman?
They look like they're going to be quiet and close out peacefully before the Christmas celebration. Yesterday we did see gold drop $9.80 after trading in a range of $2,608 all the way up to $2,630, closing out the day at $26.1260. Silver was up 13 cents at $29.61, while platinum gained $12 at $9.37, and palladium was up $8 at $916 the ounce. Overnight, we saw gold trade in a range of $26.10 to $26.21. And right now we're at $26.1260, unchanged on the day from yesterday's close. Silver down a penny right now at $29.60 the ounce. Platinum up $8 at $9.45, and palladium up $6 at $9.22. So looks like metals will be quiet for the day, and most of the markets will be closing early on the day. They'll also be closing at 12 o'clock.
Okay, yeah, well, the whole world does Christmas, and then we got the Jewish holidays on the same time, so the whole world's celebrating something. So things will be slow today, but you're open till noon, and then Thursday and Friday back to normal? All right, guys, William Youngerman, he's open till noon today. His address, 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto. When you go into the bank building, William Youngerman's shop is right across the lobby from the bank. Okay, it's easy. You'll see it right there. His number, 1-800-327-5010. 1-800-327-5010. And online, WilliamYoungerman.com. All right, have a Merry Christmas, William Youngerman, and we'll talk later in the week. All right, we'll be right back. All right, I've got William Youngerman locked in there. I can't hang up on him. Can you see if I can't get his call disconnected? Do I got him locked? Oh, boy. Okay, now we just lost. If you're on hold, stand by. Listen, Christmas is tomorrow. That means we're a week away from New Year's. If you are aching and in pain, go see Dr. Philip Appleton and talk to him about his laser away pain treatment. Dr. Appleton has rid me of pain 6 times. It works. It's 100% painless. There's no shots, no injections, no downtime. Works on every type of pain I've ever heard of. And, when I go see Dr. Appleton, I'm always running into listeners. And I always ask, if you've ever met me over there, what are you getting worked on? It's amazing to me how many different types of pain there are, because every time I run into listeners at Dr. Appleton's, there's some new pain I never heard of, or a body part suffering that's being treated I never would have thought. Some hips, necks, everything. It's amazing. I ran into one of our listeners who has a carpet business, so both of his knees are just give him all kinds of suffering. Go see Dr. Appleton. Remember, appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are welcome even on Saturdays, okay? Give him a call. Now, again, we're in holiday time. You might want to call ahead to find out his hours. But don't start the new year in pain. All right, give him a call. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. It's Patty from New Jersey.
Hey, Patty.
Hey, Merry Christmas. And, Brian, I just want to tell you that, you know what? These clowns are it's just another page out of their disgusting playbook. And the majority of the American people see through it. The only ones who are going to make a big deal out of it are the same people who made a big deal out of Trump. with all of his
Well, let me tell you, okay? Let me just tell you this about Gaetz, okay? Sadly, I have known men that frequent prostitutes, okay? I work in radio, and I've known more. There's, and there was one guy that I knew that we never worked at the same radio stations, but people, and men that have sex with prostitutes, okay? From my experience of knowing low-life men in the radio business, it's not something they do once on a weekend, okay, with a couple of girls. It is an addiction. It is an addiction. It's really a lifestyle. So what I'm here to tell you is that if these things were true about Matt Gaetz, they would have a long trail. This is not something. Yes. Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to tell you something. Matt Gaetz is a fighter. Matt is right on the same level as Trump. He's a honey badger. He doesn't give a darn. He's going to go out there. He's going to push for what's right, and they're doing everything they can to just.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you this too. I talked to one of the hookers with this guy once, and this is. Hey, it's Christmas, probably not as many people listening today. We had, there was a radio station party, okay? And this guy came from the other radio station. He was friends with some of us, and he came and he brought his girl, and me and a couple people were talking to her, and we did not know she was a prostitute. And she said, we said, how do you know each other? How'd you guys meet? How do you know him? And we knew he was into the hookers, but we didn't think she was a hooker, And she said, well, she said, he's one of my sponsors, she said. That's how she described it. He's one of my sponsors. Can you believe one of my sponsors? So she's basically, he was a sugar daddy to her, I guess. I don't know. It was a very strange, one of my sponsors, she said.
Like I said, Brian, don't let it ruin you. I'm sure Matt he's got thick skin, and, he got up on the stage, and he I don't know if you caught what he said. Somebody said you should go back to Congress, don't give up. And he said, yeah. But I think it was Steve Bannon said something about him going back.
Well, listen, okay.
Got on the way out.
Yeah, this thing with Turning Point, let me give you an example, okay? I mentioned this earlier. Charlie Kirk knows everything that's going on here. He's an insider, okay? He's an insider. So, Turning Point is an organization for youth outreach, high school and college kids. There's no way Charlie Kirk would have somebody that did those things at his youth outreach. And Candace Owens, who's, I know some will disagree, but she's an anti-Semite, and she denied the Holocaust a couple of months back. She became a Holocaust denier. You don't see her at Turning Point anymore, do you? And she used to be at these events, because once you get into the realm of Holocaust denial, that's it. You're done. So you're done. So if there was any possibility these things were true, Charlie Kirk and they'd have nothing to do with it. They would not have him on. Trump's people would not allow him to be on the same stage if there was any whiff that it might be true.
Yeah, and not for anything, we haven't seen the last of Matt Gaetz. He's not. Yeah, I think what he's doing, I personally, this is my personal opinion, I think he's going to that news organization.
One American News. Oh, yeah.
Because they were attacked viciously. They were taken off of all the platforms and stuff like that. I have a feeling he's going to go back there and basically do what and I'm the one who had the brain injury, so Devin Nunes.
Yeah.
He's basically going to do over there what Devin Nunes did for Truth.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know, but let's hope.
End of Matt.
Well, you know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see Ron DeSantis make him the senator. when Marco Rubio resigns.
Yep, he said it. He goes, wouldn't it be funny if I went in there and joined them?
Wouldn't that be something?
know?
Yep. All right. Hey, listen, have a great Christmas. You too. Thanks so much. All right. If you're on hold, hang in there. You know, I got to tell you, it's never too late to do your Christmas shopping. The free doorbell camera offer from Sloman's makes a great Christmas gift for yourself and your family at home. But if you get it for your adult kids that live in a different house or for mom and dad, it's a great gift, okay? Sloman's is going to give you a free doorbell camera that connects directly to your cell phone with the installation of your Sloman Shield, and this does make an incredible Christmas gift. Sloman's is also going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation. When you use their low-cost central station monitoring, they give you an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts for the doors and windows, a lifetime warranty, a backup battery, plus a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman's Shield. Give them a call, toll free, 833-283-5050. 833-283-5050. That's 833-283-5050. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Joelle from Fort Lauderdale.
Hey, Joellen. How you doing?
Good, good. Merry Christmas. So I heard yesterday on the radio that that Ron DeSantis would not probably put Lara Trump in there or somebody as senator for Florida, only because he would pick somebody more, you know, that's more or less loyal to him. Or
listen, this is Ron DeSantis's last chance to be somebody. He's burned the bridge. The Bushes are out, and he's burned his bridge to MAGA world. So you know he's got to, you know.
I don't know, how he works with Matt Gaetz, but the other thing is, I love Matt Gaetz. I wish he would go back. There's nobody like as good as.
Well, the reason I say that, okay, I understand it's unlikely after this slanderous report. However, Matt Gaetz and Ron DeSantis are very good close friends. Matt Gaetz helped Ron DeSantis prepare for his debates. They're very, very close. Yeah, they're very close.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the only reason I say there's a slim possibility.
Yeah. The other thing is what about all these people that were paying people are paying slush funds for these people that get into trouble, such as just exactly what they're talking about Matt Gaetz. How many people in Congress and in Washington are doing the same?
Well, if you remember Kevin McCarthy, he got busted. Kevin McCarthy had this story that he lived in his office in Congress. A lot of guys in the Congress used to claim to live in their offices. And not only did Kevin McCarthy make a big deal that he lived in his office, his wife thought he lived in his office, and we found out he didn't live in his office. He was living with Frank Luntz, the pollster, at his condo in D.C. And let me tell you, Frank Luntz is a weirdo. He has a mansion in Brentwood, California. Do you know what he has in his mansion? Frank Luntz? You know who I'm talking about, that pollster with the toupee? Okay, this is how weird he is. Frank Luntz in his mansion in Brentwood, California in Los Angeles, one room is a replica of Bill Clinton's Oval Office, and he has hanging, this is true story, look it up, and he has hanging on a coat rack a blue dress with a stain on it. That's Frank Luntz. What a weirdo. And let me tell you, if you're a married guy and you're staying at that guy's house and your wife thinks you're staying in your office, there's something not kosher. Something's up with that. So, yeah, that's very strange. My wife would kick my butt if I was staying at Frank Luntz's house. After that stain in the Oval Office at the house, I mean, he's a weirdo.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah.
Watching Matt Gaetz.
Absolutely.
There is nobody better, and that's why they hate him so much.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's an article today. It might be in the New York Times. I read an article today. I think it was in the New York Times, but they interviewed people in his district. Matt Gaetz. They love him. Forget about all these slanders on TV. He's talking about running for governor in 2 years or Senate. He could win. He's very popular in Florida. Now, and we do have Jeb Bush has a lot of juice still in Florida. Not as much as he used to have. But Matt Gaetz is incredibly popular here. I'd love him to be our governor. I'd love him to take his House seat that he just was elected to. He could still do that. I'd love to see him be in the Senate in 2 years. So he's got a future in Florida. All right, take care, Joella. Merry Christmas. We're out of time. They're going to be playing Christmas music tomorrow and actually all day on the radio station here. Everyone have a great Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Kwanzaa. We'll be back live on Thursday. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. I'm Brian. Merry Christmas.
WSFS 104.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe, all right, if you're new. And if you're already subbed, do me the favor of liking the video. I'll see you guys later. Take care.